It's a Saturday for statements as two of the most informed sides, Geelong and Richmond, clash at the MCG for the opportunity to prove they're a contender. The Cats are on a 4-game winning streak, and a victory this afternoon in Jeremy Cameron's 200th game would move them into the top 2. But waiting to pounce are the rampaging Tigers, who have won 6 of their last 7 and are looking to reignite their dynasty. There are late changes for both sides. Ivan Soldo is out of the 22 and has the medical sub-vest on. Hugo Ralph-Smith coming into the starting side. Gary Rowan is out for the Cats with illness. Cooper Stevens in for the host. Darren Bryan's with you to call the action on Grandstand. Alongside me this afternoon/evening is Jess Webster. Welcome, Jess.
G'day, Aaron. Big welcome to you on debut here at the MCG this afternoon. Very excited for you. We've turned on the weather as well. Cannot wait for this one. Two sides that are in really great form, and Geelong have a chance to move to second on the ladder. Massive opportunity for them. I just can't wait.
Excellent crowd as well. The lower tier looks pretty much full, and it sounds like there's plenty of fans still waiting to get in, so it's going to be an epic matchup this afternoon. Your experts to take you through the game. Firstly, 3-time premiership player Chris Johnson. Welcome, Jono.
Good to be here, guys. It helps if I turn my button on first. No, good to be here. Like you both used, looking forward to this contest today. Really seeing what both teams can produce. I really like Richmond's last couple of weeks. They've been building slowly. I've come and watched them live a couple of times without having to work, but just watched them live a couple of times, and I get a real good sense that they're starting to get themselves into tune, into action again, and the way they're setting up behind the football has been fantastic, and a good challenge for them today.
Alongside Chris Johnson is AFL Hall of Famer Nathan Burke. Welcome, Burkie.
Hello, Aaron, Jess, Jono. Great to be here. And, really interesting game, this one. I'm surprised that Geelong are sitting fourth on the ladder. I didn't have them that high, but to their credit, they've deserved that spot. They've had some really, really good wins. And today is a really important one because that Final 8 is starting to become a final 9-10 at the moment. So every single game that you can win against somebody close to the finals is a real bonus.
The earlier results in the round have done wonders for the Cats, as we just touched on. So Brisbane losing Melbourne by such a big margin has brought down their percentage. Carlton beating Fremantle just before at the Docklands. So Geelong can jump into second now after starting the round in 4th. Richmond can probably only go as high as 5th, but still a win separates them from the chasing pack. So a massive game this afternoon. If you're the Tigers, Berkey, why would you swap Ivan Soldo out so late?
Yeah, so Soldo becomes the sub. The only thing that I can think of is that they're a little bit concerned about the running of Geelong, so they're taking away a big man. The other thing that you can guess at is that Nankervis may have a little bit of a cloud over him. And you wouldn't normally have a guy like a Soldo as a sub, but if Nankervis has a cloud, then you've got to bring him off the ground. You've got a ready replacement. If Soldo wasn't the sub and Nankervis had to come off, then you've got to manufacture something. So it's a bit of a safety net for Nankervis. So we'll keep an eye on how he's travelling.
Well, those type of guys, they don't get smaller, Berkey, late in the game. So I'm thinking potentially, and couldn't agree more with you, that could be a question mark on Nankervis, but maybe one of their key forwards, maybe Lynch or Rewalt, have a cloud under him as well. So they might be able to push him down forward late stages of either the third or the last quarter.
The 5th member of our commentary team downstairs watching on is Karen Harrington. Welcome, Kez.
G'day, Aaron. G'day, guys. As you mentioned, a very, very healthy sized crowd is starting to fill the G here. Dylan Grimes for Richmond has won the toss. He's going to be kicking to the punt road end. Dustin Martin straight into the middle for his game back after missing last week, going to make the Richmond faithful very, very loud and proud.
Geez, Kez, it's unfortunate that wedding marriage didn't last very long.
Karen Peterson, we should
it's off
say
already.
now.
It's taking me a little bit of time, Berkey, so give everyone else a little bit of time too.
Big crowd into the MCG. Massive game, round 15 action on Grandstand AFL. It's great to have your company. Geelong and Richmond. Jess Webster to kick us off.
A genuine blockbuster for your Saturday afternoon here at the MCG. As the umpire slams the ball into the turf. Stanley against Nankervis. The ball spills the way of Geelong, but Dusty Martin laying a really important tackle against Atkins and holds up play. And we haven't gone too far from the centre circles. Umpire quick to toss the ball in the air, and it's Stanley who rips it out of the ruck and pumps Geelong into attack. 2-on-1 against Hawke, and the ball spills to ground. Close, a chance for him in the pocket. Hand passes backwards to Tui. Has a bit of space. 45 metres out. Right foot snap towards the line. Blitzards has marked just inside the field of play and will line up and shoot for Geelong's first.
Well, watch that match up very closely. Blitzarves and Pickett there. And Pickett just let him get behind him, basically. He went back deep to help out his teammate. And Blitzarves said, well, I'm going to come with you, and then I'm going to get behind you.
Right against the boundary line, 5 metres out, curls it around to perfection. Geelong are on the board. One straight, Richmond yet to score, and we played less than a minute in the opening term.
He's an amazing player. I'm writing down my matchups here, and he was named at centre-half back, so I'm thinking, okay, who's he going to pick up at centre-half back? But you can throw him anywhere on the ground, and he does an amazing job. At the moment, where's he lining up on the wing? One of the biggest wingmen that ever played the game. But, he can go key forward, key back. Great start for him. Another matchup that I'm really looking forward to, Jono, is young De Koning on Lynch. And they've managed to line up against each other. Sometimes yet those matchups don't always work out, but that's going to be a ripper when it gets up in that Tigers forward line. Yeah,
both from starting out of the goal square now, De Koning and Lynch. So that's going to be, and he's such a young player, and he's been able to produce some really good games this year, and been able to get a nomination for the Rising Star.
Cats by 6 in the middle. Nankervis wins it down straight to Martin, wrapped up by a couple of tacklers and dropped it. Free kick to the Cats. They don't waste any time. Tom Atkins throws it on the right. High ball into the 50. Leading out. Broad tries to cut it off for Richmond. Lost it in the air. Spilt down to Grimes. He's caught in the tackle. Got a handball clear. Through the legs of Rioli. It spills out to the Cats. Blitzavs uses Hawkins on the pain of 50. Cam Guthrie loses it. Shane Edwards can mop it up for the Tigers. Nice kick on the 45. Hits up short at centre half back.
He flares it out wide to a one-on-one contest. McIntosh against Tui. Tui wins out, scoots away from 55. Good ball inside the 50. Just had a little bit too much on it for Stengel. Goes out of bounds on the full in the end. Free kick going the way to Grimes in the right back pocket for the Tigers.
Early signs that Geelong Cats at the moment just look like they want to get behind the defence of the Tigers. We know they want to press right up, but it looks like now, when they've both gone forward the last couple of times, they're just trying to get behind the Richmond defence.
Dan Rioli exits defensive 50. Out through the members' wing, he finds Baker. Long kick up to left half forward. It clears the pack. Rewalt got a hand to it. Spilled down to Edwards. Kept it in the field of play brilliantly. Handball over the back of his head to Rewalt. Into the left forward pocket. The kick was errant. Sprayed across the goal line and marked on the behind line. Sam De Koning with the intercept for the Cats. They're up by 6. We played 3 minutes in the opening quarter at the MCG.
15 love, Berkey.
De Koning short to Tui, who chips it to Duncan. Has a bit of room to move on the outer wing. That kick not a good one though. It just dribbles towards Hawkins, whose hand pass releases Henry. Crosses the pain of 50. Eyes the goals, and Geelong are on fire early here at the G. 2 straight 12, leading Richmond yet to score through 3.5 minutes of the opening term. Your experts are Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke.
It's pretty good all the way, coast to coast they went. It started with the young fellow who we spoke about just before the last goal, and De Koning was able to get in front of Lynch, take the mark. But the ball movement and the pressure, I guess Henry running off half back, and they just run in waves, Geelong. I just love the way they're able to do that. They back themselves in, they back their skills, and they back their players to actually win a one-on-one scenario. And there, Hawkins, we've seen him actually win a 3-on-1 scenario, able to give it up. Nice instincts, up, hands off the deck. Henry run and pass and just measured it nicely. He did look to pass it at one stage, but then now he just measured it well outside 50.
He would have passed it to Blitzarves, who ran forward inside forward 50, so he could have had 2.
The voices of Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson, the Cats by 12. There's a block out free kick going Geelong's way again, and their skipper Selwood will pierce it into the 50, 2 flat. Broad will sock it off the deck, just trying to clear some space into the centre square. Edwards puts his head over the footy, wrapped up by Cam Guthrie, but got it out to Prestia. Now using the ball, Graham gets it out to Nankervis. He'll kick to the southern side, just into space. Bounces in the hold on Martin. Comes out from right half forward, gathers on the bounce. Paddles it to himself away from Tui. Kicks inside, a bit too short. Looking for Clark. Geelong can cut it off. Spills down to Tui. His handball not clean either. Graham now can go. Has a bit of time to think about it on the boundary line. Gives it off to Dustin Martin. Short little chip kick, wasn't even 5 metres. Hits McIntosh. Long kick into the 50. Lynch caught behind De Koning. He did very well. Got a hand and knocked it down to Stewart.
He kicks out to left half back into the path of Cameron, who gives it back to Stewart. Just a high kick down the outer side wing to a pack. It spills to ground. It's all Geelong. Cam Guthrie to Stengel and then to Duncan by hand, and Geelong can again go inside 50. Hawkins is one out. He has to come from behind. Did well to bring the ball to ground, but it does go over the boundary line for a throw-in 30 metres around from goal. Good work by Tarrant in that one-on-one.
Yeah, you're right, Jess. He actually done his work early and got in front of Hawkins. He knew where Hawkins wanted to go, was in that forward pocket, and he checked him a couple of times. Hawkins went back at him. He kept that front position. Very good work by the defender.
Tough week for Robbie Tarrant as well. Had surgery on a broken knuckle, but playing today off the ruck contest at the back. Vlosten gathers and is wrapped up. Didn't sense Cam Guthrie behind him. Caught holding the ball. Free kick to Geelong, 45 out, straight in front.
The Cats are almost beating the Tigers at their own game at the moment. We know the Tigers used to like to get the ball forward of the pack and just surge onto it, but it's really the Cats who are doing the better of the surging at this point.
3 goals, 4 for the year. Cam Guthrie had 34 touches the last time these two sides met, and Geelong knocked off Richmond in round 19 of last year. We'll start all the way back in the centre square. A couple of leads, doesn't use them. Instead goes bang on the right, on the paint of 50 at the carry, but just through for a minor score on the left-hand side. It's been all Geelong early. 6.5 into the opening term, 2-1-13. Richmond yet to score.
Broad brings the ball back in for Richmond. Short kick finds Baker, still inside defensive 50 at right half back. Outstanding season from Baker so far. His kick out wide. The fist comes from Blitzards against Ross, and the ball goes over the line for a boundary throw in between wing and half forward on the southern side. It's the Cats leading 13 to Richmond yet to score.
Interesting positioning by Pickett here. He's sitting about 100 metres off the contest in the centre square, all on his own, playing the true wing position at the moment.
His opponent, Blitzards, has gone into the ruck.
And beaten Nankervis as well. Knocks it down to Cam Guthrie. Got it out to Mitch Duncan. Tried the double slap to an advantage of a teammate, but pushed it all the way over the boundary line out on the southern side. So we've touched on great crowd in attendance.
They've only just worked it out now, Geelong players, and pointing around, but it's actually, they're playing Stewart off the back of this contest at the moment, so a little bit unsure the spare is.
Nankervis this time tries to charge into the ruck contest, still caught behind Blitzavs though. Won it down to no advantage in particular. Martin stuck underneath the pack and just can't clear the ball. The umpire's circled and Wapay holding the ball. Justin Power giving it against Dustin Martin, who just fell onto the footy, and Geelong again will race away. Duncan up to left half forward. Hits up Blitzarves. Too far out to score. So he'll centre his kick about 10 metres, called to play on as it hits Holmes. Gives it back to Duncan. Flat kick, a worm burner that dribbles along the deck through Smith, and Richmond can mop it up. Short with a kick intended for Morris Rioli. It'll dribble its way out towards the members' win, and away they go through Tom Lynch.
So Lynch hand passes to Pickett. He's corralled by Buse, and then under pressure with the kick, looking for Morris Rioli. He can't collect it. O'Connor picks it up. He gets a hand pass away to Buse. Has to get around a couple of defenders. He hand passes to Menegola. Long kick down the line, and the Richmond defence through Grimes. Fists it down, but only as far as Cameron, who gives it to Cam Guthrie. Hand passes to Zach Tui. Has to screw it around the corner from the wing. Bounces inside 50. Favours Henry in the end, but that is not a great kick. Straight down the throat of McIntosh, who chips short to Tarrant. From the left back pocket, that's a good exit kick, finds Grimes.
And I reckon here at the moment, the Cats are just putting a lot of pressure on Richmond, and they can't settle at the moment.
Grimes went inside to Short. Now Ross. Dangerous kick across half back, but McIntosh read it beautifully. Came across through the air and raced away through the square. Heads out to the southern side to Vlostone. Just forward of the logo. He'll centre his kick. Halting momentum a bit to Rioli. Now he'll go inside 50. The Tigers on the march, and Shea Bolton can't get a run at it. De Koning again cuts it off. The young Rising Star nominee. Cameron loses it though under pressure. Prestia heads back in, intended for Rewalt. Got a hand to it, but too high. Stewart can mop it up. Hands it back. Now Tui. Around the body, heads towards the defensive 50 Payne, and Cameron does very well. Rises in front of Pickett, and in his 200th game, has the footy inside defensive 50. Cats by 13.
He's pushing further up the ground than I think we've ever seen him in his career, and really paying dividends of great football.
And it's an excellent kick too, out of defensive 50 to find O'Connor on the wing. He chips short to Stengel in front of the interchange gates. He chips short again to find Hawkins just forward of the wing.
I think Cameron at the moment is probably arguably one of the best players going around in the competition. He's able to adapt down back, and he's been able to do that, Berkey, adapt his game to a style that Geelong needing to play.
Hawkins chips short to Menengola, who pumps it inside 50 for the Cats, but rising high and taking a nice defensive mark as Grimes.
Looks to exit dangerously, though, to Dustin Martin. He had 3 to beat. Still got the chest mark. At right half back, he'll head through the southern side. Races around Kolajasny down the line. Lynch is caught behind Blitzavs, who stood his ground. Another intercept mark for the Cats. Up by 13. Richmond yet to score. 10 played in the first. Blitzavs, one of their goal scorers. He's been everywhere. Heads back where it came from, up to left half forward. Cats currently kicking to the city end. And in the pack, great mark taken by Henry. He's looked energetic on return. Had a foot injury in round 5 against the Hawks. Couple of disposals early. He'll pop it short to Duncan. Still too far out to score. Closer to the boundary line at left half forward. Duncan spots a target inside. It's Cameron. Knocked away from him by Broad. Spills down. McIntosh ran through, lost the footy in the process. Atkins now tackled by Prestia, loses it. Umpire calls play on. Broad on hands and knees, shovels a handball out. Gets it to Ross. Now Vostone uses Rioli from right half back. He's tackled as he kicked it, but just keeps it inside the field of play. The pressure was enough, though, to force yet another turnover. Tom Stewart cuts it off with the intercept mark.
Well, they're getting numbers deep here, Richmond, but they're not transitioning the ball out as well as what they'd like.
So Stewart kicks long into the arc. It spills to ground. Myers to Hawkins. He's wrapped up by a couple of Tigers and lost the footy. That's holding the ball. Free kick going to Vlastone in the defensive 50, and he switches the play. Kicks across the face of goal and finds Grimes on the edge of 50.
Well, they've got a lot of numbers back there. That's why it's going to be so hard for Geelong to get quick snapshots on goal or even trying to hit a target inside their forward 50, because the Tigers just got pretty much everyone bar 2 or 3 inside their defensive 50.
Prestia has the pill, left half back, members wing. He'll head up towards the logo. Pack away. Stewart again crunches it with a big spoil. There's a push-out free kick going Geelong's way as well. It'll come back to the logo. True centre wing. Jake Kolajasny looks inside the square. Quick kick inside. Spots Duncan. He's had a few early as well. This will be disposal number 6. Short down the line. Uses Myers. Spots up Stanley now, just behind right half forward. Cats moving the ball with ease at the moment. Selwood takes the mark, was pushed after as well. And 50, no. He'll take the advantage inside. Back to Duncan. Now from centre half forward, heads towards close. Couldn't take it, spills to the back of the pack. Richmond have numbers waiting. Grimes can gather, think about it, and then exit out towards right half back. Spots Dustin Martin, gives the hands off and goes. Baker over the top to Bolton, has a paddock to run into. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, centres his kick unselfishly to Morris Rioli, who can run into the open goal and get Richmond's first of the afternoon. Morris Rioli gets the Tigers on the board. It took 13 minutes to get there. They're 1 straight 6, Geelong 2, 113 on Grandstand AFL. Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
I'm going to go back to Nathan Broad's kick out of the back line there that really set up that play for Richmond to go coast to coast, one end to the other. There was players out on the boundary line, but he pulled the kick back into the middle of the corridor where Dusty Martin was waiting, and importantly, Dusty then flicked off a handball. And that quick play didn't allow the Geelong people who'd sort of pushed high up the ground into their forward line to get back fast enough, and off to the races they went when Bolton and Rioli get out in front. No one's running them down, but Broad, his brave kick out of the back line into the corridor really set up that play.
So a goal against the run of play, you'd say. 12 inside 50s to 5, the way of Geelong so far in this opening term, as we're back in the middle, and it's a free kick for a push-out going the way of Stanley. Quickly hand passes to Cam Guthrie, who sends Geelong inside 50 again and across the face of the pack. Jeremy Cameron in his 200th game takes a ripper of a mark.
I don't know how you can allow a guy like that to be able to just float across the front of a pack. He read it better than everybody else. He knew it was going to drop short when the pack formed, and just a beautiful, easy floating mark, and it was almost a double foot takeoff rather than your genuine 1 foot takeoff and driving your knee up. So he just reads it better than anyone else in the air, I think.
So Jeremy Cameron makes no mistake on this occasion and gets his first goal in his milestone game to extend Geelong's lead. 3-1-19, Richmond 1 straight 6 through 15 minutes of the opening term.
It's a bit of a lost start, I think. I've been watching the football the last 2 nights, and the inability of defenders to to just get a hand on and disrupt a key forward's run into the football. You don't have to block them, you don't have to push them. Sometimes just an arm across is enough to disrupt their run so they can't run and jump. But you give a guy like Jeremy Cameron, who's in the best form of his career, a free run and jump at the football, well, don't be surprised he's going to turn around and kick a goal on you.
Well, he came from 30 metres away, Berkey. 30 metres away. Broad just didn't have any contact with him at all, and he was able to run freely.
Goal number 506 in his 200th game for Jeremy Cameron. Back to a 13-point lead for the Cats. In the middle, Stanley will beat his opponent in Rewalt. He's in the ruck this time for Richmond. Atkins can get the clearance around the body up to half forward. Holmes and Ralph Smith in the pack. Neither could take it. Rioli's spun around by Selwood into the attacking 50 for the Cats. And a ball up will commence 45 out.
I'm not sure Jack's the answer in the ruck. He's given away one free kick and been jumped over mightily in the second one.
Stanley wins it down straight to his skipper Selwood. He's caught by two and lost it. Turns the ball over to Baker. Exits out towards the southern side. He put it out into space. Zach Guthrie's chasing onto it, but Tom Lynch will beat him. Gathers on the boundary line and handballs inside to Clark. Takes a bounce and goes. Judson Clark gives it off. Nice kick inside from Graham to Jack Riewoldt. Couldn't take it. Maurice Rioli was in his way. What a mess. Richmond go again. 45 out from goal. Pickett now to Bolton. Doesn't know what to do with it. Handball out of defensive, attacking 50 rather to Ralph Smith. Just throws it on the boot. Bangs it to the goal square and Lynch can rise and clunk it. It wasn't pretty, but the Tigers get a mark inside 50, straight in front, top of the goal square. It should be their second.
Well, he deserves this. He done an amazing handball, just a nice weighted handball out on the wing earlier to start this play or to help this forward entry for us go forward a lot earlier. But what a fantastic mark. But he's been able to get back into the goal square.
Lynch comes in and slots it at the punt road end. Back to a single-digit scoreline. The Tigers straight 12, Geelong 3-1-19. Approaching time on in the first term on Grandstand AFL. If you'd like to get in touch with us, the text line 0437 774 774.
Because he ran so hard from the wing all the way back, De Koning didn't really have the opportunity to man him up, and it was a smaller Geelong defender that ended up picking up Tommy Lynch as he got back to the goal square. And when the ball comes in really high like that, a smaller defender is not going to be able to jump over him. So if he wants to get rid of De Koning, that's the sort of stuff he needs to do. Get up the wing, get involved there, and then hightail it back to the goal square.
It was Zach Guthrie in the end, I think, who had to try and beat Lynch to that footy, and not on that occasion.
So starting to get their hands on a little bit more now. Richmond, they're only just 6 or so behind in disposals.
So Stanley fell over in the ruck and allowed Nankervis to quickly release Prestia, who kicks towards half forward, but Richmond have turned it over. Menengola just evades Graham and then kicks long down the line. Baker should get there first. It pitches in front of him. He just keeps the ball alive. Hand passes inboard to Ross, who hand passes defensively to Ralph Smith. Under pressure with the kick. Kicks down the line. It's dropped by Graham. It still might come up the Tigers' way, and it does. Edwards kicks towards half forward, falls into the lap of Riewoldt. He's got it 55 out from home. Wants to reel around and go quickly, and why not when Lynch is all alone at the top of the square, but he's dropped it. Might get it back again, Lynch. His kick is smothered off the boot as the players dive on. Maurice Rioli can have a go. Now it falls to Bolton. Screws it around the corner, but misses everything. Out of bounds on the full free kick to Geelong in the right back pocket. Tommy Lynch,
that was
ruining that.
Only putting it to be splattered all over his face. That was you're not going to get an easier mark 15 metres out dead in front than that one.
We saw Richmond's chaos footy return against Carlton last week in the wet. Well, they're trying to put it on in the dry here at the G, and hasn't been pretty. Tom Stewart has it in the right back pocket for the Cats. Exits defensive 50 looking for Henry. He's outnumbered, and Grimes with a massive spoil smashes it back towards attacking 50 for the Tigers, but O'Connor's waiting. After the handball, he was pushed. They'll take the advantage anyway. Cameron with a kick inside. Uses Buse, who looks for the switch. Out to the southern side, Zach Guthrie, the late inclusion for Gary Rowan. Marks and goes. Takes a bounce. Long down the wing, up to left half forward. Hawkins outnumbered, but still claims it against Tarrant. Mark wasn't paid as he dropped it late. Now wrapped up in the tackle. Ball up to come, just behind left half forward for the Cats at the City end. They're leading by 7 points at the moment. 3-1-19 plays, 2 straight 12.
So Hawkins in the ruck. palms it down to Selwood. Just got the hands free, looking for Myers. He's been picked off by Ross, and he's tackled immediately by a couple of Cats. And we've got a ball up 70 metres out from Geelong's goal. Their lead is 7 points as we tick into time one of this opening term. Two ruckmen go at it. Ross, hand passes to Edwards. Sweeping hand pass into the path of Prestia. Has to tap it forward to Graham. He was pulled down to the ground by Selwood without the footy. It will be a free kick going to Graham. True centre wing position, Southern Siders. There's a player down behind play as well.
He got, after he tapped the ball forward, a Geelong player came through and cleaned him up well and truly.
Yeah, it's Prestia just in the hands of the trainers. He's looking a little ginger.
Can't stand up at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be a concussion, so we're going to see the sub brought in pretty quickly here.
And it is Ivan Soldo, who is not really a like-for-like replacement.
Meanwhile, the Tigers had the footy through Grimes. He's kicked it straight back to the Cats, though. Taken by Close. Down the line, looks to Hawkins. He's a left half forward.
Should be stopped.
Hawkins keeps going for the Cats. Piercing kick inside 50 to Cam Guthrie. Marks it with such pace that he ran down the race. Tied on the boundary, 45 out. Prestia is still down. There are at least 4 trainers around. The umpire has not stopped play. Your officials here at the G, Justin Power, Andrew Stevens, Hayden Gavine. Meanwhile, plays continued. Cam Guthrie centres his kick for the Cats. 35 out from goal. The mark wasn't taken. Atkins thought it was. Richmond players dived onto him. Free kick holding the ball. So Richmond escaped with danger. There's still a player down, though. Rewalt's exiting kick wasn't clean to Pickett, but he's cleaned up in the contest.
You're spot on, Aaron. I think they've got to stop it because they're a player down. They're disadvantaged at the moment, Richmond.
A free kick to Pickett, who keeps going down the members' wing. Lynch is outnumbered. It clears the pack. Stewart's waiting at the back. Prestia is now being taken across the centre square in the hands of trainers. Play continues. Stewart wheels around up towards centre wing. Myers nearly took it in the pack, spilt down to Close. Handball out to Stanley. Nice ball uses Atkins, gets it back to Close. Into the 50, Stengel's out and slides in to take the mark at the back. He'll hand it off from the deck. Snap from 30 and hits the post. Oh, it's a goal. Gone through for the major. Geelong have snuck one in while Richmond are a player down. Sliding low. Stengel got it out, received it, and kicks the major. So Geelong push out to a 13-point lead once again. As Dion Prestia now gets into a light jog. Richmond will finally have a full squad on the park, and Ivan Soldo looks like he's warming up downstairs. 22 played at the MCG. Cats by 13.
Yeah, it's good to see Prestia up on his feet and being able to jog off the last bit of that run. But it was Tommy Stewart who came through and cleaned him up. And Tommy actually came over and said a bit of a sorry as he was walking off the ground. So, yeah, it doesn't look good for Tommy because it was a bump. And if you elect a bump, you get the player high, you wear the repercussions.
So Prestia down into the rooms. Good news is he is on his feet, but will get checked out by the doctors as we're back in the middle and Geelong emerge with it again. Atkins kicks towards the top of the arc, over the head of Cameron. Pickett at the fall of the ball. His hand pass is picked off by Close, who gives it to Selwood all alone in the goal square as Henry collides heavily with Tarrant. Tarrant is down, the ball spills into the pocket. Henry lays a tackle against Ralph Smith. The ball goes over the line for a throw-in 30 metres around from goal. It is chaos here at the MCG. Tarrant is to his feet, but that was a heavy collision with Henry.
Yeah, it's more about when he hit his head on the ground after that. That's the biggest issue. And everyone thinks it's in the actual collision. It's actually after the collision when their back hits flat and then they almost get whiplashed with their head in the back of in the ground.
Tarrant stayed out there. Nankervis took it out of the ruck but gave it straight to Duncan. Handed it off to Smith off a step. He'll kick a minus score on the left-hand side. 14-point lead to the Cats. 4-2-26. Richmond 2 straight 12. Approaching the 25-minute mark of the first. Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster, Nathan Burt, Chris Johnson with you on ABC Radio and Sport Digital. Dion Prestia having a concussion test, but you'd imagine he's out of the game.
Well, Tarrant will have to have one as well. The way he fell on the ground and his arms were stiff in the air, that's a sign that you definitely need a concussion test. So they will have 2 players doing that very quickly.
So Milestone brings the ball back in for the Tigers. It ricochets to the wing, but is picked off by Stewart, who sends it back into the arc for Geelong. It's off hands. Tigers win out through Rioli, who hand passes to Baker. Deep inside defensive 50. It's a shank off the boot. It might work out, though, although it dribbles past Edwards on the wing, and Geelong win it through Smith. Hand pass to Duncan, it goes back to Smith, just forward of the wing. Wheels around and kicks in the Hawkins direction and floating back nicely as Flurry takes the mark in the left back pocket.
Impressive year for Nick Flurry, considering he missed the opening rounds with a hamstring injury, and he wastes little time heading down the middle as well. Kicks up towards the centre square. Now Graham can shake and bake through a couple. Hands it out wide to Dusty. He can keep going around Smith. Awful kick that tumbles its way into the 50. Gibcus puts his head over it, wrapped up in the tackle, but flicked a handball out to Ross. Now Martin on the paint of attacking 50. Wanted to get a handball out, but was wrapped up by Kolajasny. Free kick to the Cats. There's just no structure for the Tigers at the moment.
It's 3 holding the ball decisions against Dusty. Normally he doesn't get 3 in a season. He's had 3 and a quarter.
Geelong out through the southern side. Smith popped it short down the line. Kick wasn't great. Up to left half forward. Guthrie can mop it up with one hand. Gave it to Cameron, who stepped out of bounds. Boundary throwing to come, you'd imagine, at left half forward. Karen Peterson's downstairs on the boundary.
As you guys have mentioned, the Doc has been out with Tarrant. He seems fairly happy to leave him out there. So for now, Tarrant's got away with having to not have a concussion test. We'll wait and see what happens at quarter time.
That might be one where the AFL actually come over and say, hey, look, here's the vision. Why is that player still out there? Get him off.
So we'll watch this space as Presti is down in the rooms getting a concussion test, and we're unsure about Tarrant. Meanwhile, the ball's tossed back into play. Stanley taps it to Stengel in space on the forward 50. Curls it around the corner. That is a brilliant goal from Stengel. He's got 2, and Geelong are out to a 20-point lead. 5-2-32. Richmond 2 straight 12 through 27 minutes played in the opening term. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, what I'm seeing at the moment is when there's a loose ball, the Cats are just being first to it. They're either being first to it in getting the ball and actually being clean in possession, or they're actually knocking it on in favour of their teammates, so then they can be a clear possession and then they can go forward as well. So, look, the Cats at the moment, they're more hungry. And, you know, it's that old saying that, you know, see ball, get ball, and that's what they're doing tonight, or this afternoon, is the Cats. They're seeing the ball and they're going to get it, and they're in first majority of the time in front of the Tigers.
Geelong by 20. Carnage for the Tigers downstairs. Karen Peterson, what's the latest?
Yeah, confirmation, guys, that Prestia has been subbed out. Ivan Soldo, he's got the warm-up jacket still on, but the paperwork has been passed over. Sub has been made.
So whatever mind games the Tigers were playing, it doesn't matter. 2 rucks now in for them. Nankervis wins it down straight to Jack Graham, wrapped up immediately by Cam Guthrie. Ball up to come, still in the centre square. 5-2-32, plays 2 straight 12. Again, Nankervis puts it down to throw to Ross, gets it back, kicks around the body, just clumsily up towards left half forward. O'Connor back with the flight, couldn't take it, and then threw a boot out as he gathered on the ground. Errant kick. Meanwhile, the Tigers mop it up. Martin kick is a shank off the side of the boot, heading towards the 50. He's trying to get it to Rewalt. It's just taken a bounce inside the field of play, so a boundary throw will come just outside the attacking 50 for the Tigers at the Punt Road end, trailing by 20 points.
He's a little bit rusty, old Dusty, at this stage.
Umpire spins the ball back into play, and then Curvis against Stanley. Spills the way of Ross, who gives it to Bolton, who kicks into the pocket, flying high out the back. I think that might have been Gibcus.
Yeah, he's been moved up forward now, Jess. They've swung him from back to forward. He's been there for the last 5 minutes.
So it was fisted over the boundary line for a throw in 20 metres around from Richmond's goal. It was a fair athletic effort from Gibcus.
Earlier today, Carlton defeating Fremantle by 31 points. Still to come. The Swans and the Saints. Toss back inside Richmond's attacking 50, 30 out. Nankervis put it in front of Dusty. Had to half volley off the deck because he had plenty of players on him. McIntosh now paddles it back to Ross. Kicks to the right forward pocket, looking for Clark, who was all alone, and takes the mark. 45 out, tight angle to the right.
Watch this kid the last couple of weeks. He's been good. He's really come onto the scene and really got an appetite to kick goals. He kicked a couple in his first game. I think he may have hit the scoreboard last week as well. Really like the way he moves, gets up the ground, but more importantly, he gets on the bike when the ball is transitioned out and does a fair bit of pressure. And there, he was able to just to find the space, and just a smart kick there by Jack Ross there, just in space so he could run onto it.
The 18-year-old Judson Clark in his 3rd game. Picked 30 in last year's draft. Kicks from the paint of 50, loads up on the left, but starts right and doesn't come back enough. The first blemish for the Tigers comes on the quarter-time siren. They're 2-1-12. Geelong lead 5-2-32. The goal kickers at the first break for the Cats, 2 to Stengel, singles to Cameron, Henry and Blitzabs. For the Tigers, singles to Lynch and Rioli. Dion Prestia subbed out of the game with concussion. Ivan Soldo is on. Plenty happening here at a packed MCG. It's great to have your company on ABC Radio and Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
Journey to another world as ABC Classic brings you the Classic 100 music for the screen. From Game of Thrones to The Crown, from Mario Brothers to Final Fantasy, from Jaws to Star Wars. Celebrate your favourite music from film, television and gaming with Australia's biggest weekend of classical music. The Classic 100 Music for the Screen. Log in to vote now at abc.net.au/classic.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Tui has a bit of space, 45 metres out, right foot snap towards the line, Blitzards has marked just inside the field of play and will line up and shoot for Geelong's first. Right against the boundary line, 5 metres out, curls it around to perfection, Geelong are on the board. Dribbles towards Hawkins, whose hand pass releases Henry, crosses the paint of 50, eyes the goals, and Geelong are on fire early here at the G.
Baker over the top to Bolton, has a paddock to run into. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, centres his kick unselfishly to Morris Rioli, who can run into the open goal and get Richmond's first of the afternoon.
Cam Guthrie, who sends Geelong inside 50 again and across the face of the pack. Jeremy Cameron in his 200th game takes a ripper of a mark. Makes no mistake on this occasion and gets his first goal in his milestone game to extend Geelong's lead.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The Cats firing the first strike at the MCG, a 19-point lead at quarter time, 5-2-32 to Richmond's 2-1-13. Carnage for the Tigers as well. Dion Prestia subbed out of the game with concussion, so Ivan Soldo is in. Shane Edwards looks like he's heading down the race as well at the moment, and Robbie Tarrant copped a pretty heavy front-on contact back with the flight. At the moment, he's still out there, but obviously will be getting assessed as well. The text line, 0437 774 774. Lots of conjecture about Dion Prestia being out on the ground for 4 to 5 minutes with that concussion, with play continuing. Benny in the Valley says in back-to-back games today, play hasn't been stopped. What's happening? Simon from Largs says play stops for a trickle of blood but not a concussion. The AFL confuses me sometimes. Mark in Mentone says the complete opposite. He says it's how it should be. Bodies on the line, earn your spot in the 22. Your experts here at the MCG, alongside Jess Webster and myself, Aaron Bryans, Nathan Burt, Chris Johnson. How do you guys see the opening quarter?
Well, first things first, I think Tom Stewart will have a case to answer for during the week. That big hit, the ball was nowhere within sight. It was straight down the middle. It was almost the old shirt front. And probably did, if I remember the replay, Jess, that he did leave the ground. And once you leave the ground, you get yourself in all sorts of trouble when it gets reviewed. I think at the moment, well, they've got to really work and earn their money tonight, the coaching staff of the Richmond Football Club. So they've got 2 ruckmen out there at the moment. They pulled that out real quickly in terms of Soldo going to the sub. So they need to actually now start to think about, well, these ruckmen cannot rest off the ground. They need to rest deep forward. They need to keep them out there. So free up that interchange spot for another midfielder, because they're going to be down in around that middle of the ground again with Prestia out. And then we've seen Edwards as well going down. So it's going to be some big decisions to be made here by the Tigers. But basically, the Cats are just getting their hands on it. They're plus 12 inside the forward 50. The defence is under pressure at the moment for the Tigers. They're really struggling. They're working it pretty well around the centre of the ground as well in the midfield. Geelong around the centre clearances and around the ball up clearances as well. So at the moment, they're just all over in Berkey.
They are, and so 20-point lead to the Cats. They deserve that 20-point lead. I think Tigers, it's probably flattering them to a degree. You look at inside 50s, 20-9 in favour of the Cats. They've pretty much had the same amount of possessions, but just the way the Cats are moving it in a really fast fashion. To be totally honest, I don't always love watching the Cats because they can be a bit slow and boring. But we haven't seen that at all today, and they're actually taking the Tigers on at their own game and beating them at that game. To be honest, I think it's probably a good thing that Soldo is out there. We saw when Nankervis went off, Jack Revolt went into the centre bouncers, and they're losing the centre bouncers 5-1. Jack's not going to be able to cut it against Blitzarves or a Stanley, so at least that gives their midfielders an even chance at those centre bouncers, because you need the ball going your way out of those centre bouncers. They can't keep losing them 5-1.
And the other one is Gippus. They put him forward, so they've actually disrupted their defence as well at the same time. So not only have they disrupted their forward line in putting Rewald in there, and then they've also disrupted their defence. So they're actually having to work a little bit. I think it's a massive win for Geelong here. You know, I don't agree with the comment that you read out before, Aaron, around earn your spot. That was way off the ball. This is not what this game's about. This game's about, yes, we go to war and we get out there and it's a body against body in the fair possible way, because it was just a really off the ball incident and an ugly incident here, sitting at the ground and seeing the replay as well. It's not what we're all about, our game of football.
I think you've nailed it, Jono. So there's a couple of seconds at least after Prestia paddles it down to Graham. Stewart passed the ball, has jumped, raised the shoulder and collected him high. So certainly the MRO will have a look at it. Speaking of the carnage downstairs, Karen Peterson has an update on Shane Edwards for us.
Very, very busy medical team down here on the Richmond bench. Titch Edwards off. He had a face laceration and had a very blood-stained jumper. Shouldn't be too much longer downstairs. He'll be back and right to go. As already mentioned, Ivan Soldo has come on with Prestia being subbed off with that concussion. It's the third time this season that he's been subbed off, the first time for concussion. So fingers crossed he is absolutely fine. Geelong has the clean bill of health down here. Cooper Stevens remains the sub, ready to go for the second quarter.
Cats by 19, 5-2-32, plays 2-1-13, second quarter underway, and straight out of the middle it's a quick clearance for the Tigers off the ruck contest. Ross socked it out of the air straight to Vlostone in defensive 50, so Nick Vlostone heads out towards right half back, finds Ralph Smith, arcs uncontested just behind Tyson Stengel. Tigers will be kicking to the city end in this quarter. Heads down the members' wing, up to right half forward. Stewart caught behind Gibcus, who got a paddle down straight to O'Connor though for the Cats. Off the bounce he gathers, gives it to Selwood. Now Buse, chain of handballs finds Stewart. You can hear the boos. That's in relation to the Prestia bump. Gives it back to Buse. He races away, arches the back and gets past Dustin Martin. Up to left half forward, looking for blitz subs. He's caught behind Grimes. Got a spoil down to Ralph Smith. Shoveled a handball out off the deck to Rioli. That's Dan. Now a 1-2 with Pickett. It didn't get back to Dan Rioli. Swung in the tackle. Turned it over to Atkins. The Cats can go.
Blitzarves, just a wobbly kick along the ground to Stengel, back to Blitzarves and then to Cam Guthrie by hand. Inside forward 50, tries to square the kick, but no one there for the Cats. Soldo takes the mark, or a free kick, take your pick. So the medical sub has come on to the ground for Dion Prestia, who's out with concussion, as Soldo chips short to Broad. His kick looking for McIntosh straight through his fingers, and then Menengola caught one high, and he's got the free kick. 55 from home. Beautiful ball inside 50. Cameron's all alone.
That's poor by McIntosh. Not only one, you missed the mark. That is a sitting duck, and you've got to take that every day of the week. You would have taken 100 of them at training during the week, but then to panic and then give a free kick away, at least get back and compete in the right manner.
So a momentary lapse of concentration by the Richmond defence. You cannot give Jeremy Cameron room to move. He's a beautiful striker of the football, and he does so again on this occasion. Nails it from 45 for his second, and Geelong, they're away now, 6-2-38. They lead Richmond 2 straight 12. The margin's now out to 26 points, 2 minutes into the second. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Worrying sign for me is the lack of awareness and urgency by Richmond. McIntosh he dropped the mark, he gave away a free kick. That was both poor play, but in the end I thought a free kick's probably not bad, because it holds the play up and allows the Richmond players, the defenders, to actually get on their players, because he's given away a free kick about 65, 70 metres out, but they didn't. Jeremy Cameron ran into a hole, 15-metre radius in either direction. That's not a Richmond team that's switched on. It looked like it was pretty hard on them. He called them in a quarter time, but I haven't seen a change in the first couple of minutes.
High bounce in the middle, but neither ruck jumped for it. Soldo staying down with Stanley. Selwood can bust through. Hands it off to Cam Guthrie. Kick into space in hope, really, as it tumbles into the 50. Ralph Smith could have cut it off, but lost it. Hawkins was waiting at the back. Snaps around the body to the top of the goal square. Clears Henry, and Grimes rushes it through. Ran about 5 metres over the line. Minor score to the Cats, 27 points their lead. Richmond just searching for answers at the MCG here in round 15.
7-1 out of the middle in favour of the Cats.
And Berkey not liking Hugo Ralph Smith down there in the back line at the moment. He's playing on Stengline, and Stengline is running rings around him. He's getting lost when the ball's in the air. He's getting lost when the ball goes inside his defensive 50 as well.
Well, Richmond work it to Broad at half back, but his kick is a dangerous one, looking for Ross, and they've turned it over. Atkins pounces and shifts laterally and finds Cameron at top of 50.
Yeah, just trying to, I guess, thread the needle there, and just probably he had a couple of guys down the line that he could have gone to, but he's just trying to create, and that's what a team does when they're sort of in doubt at the moment and unable to get their hands on the football. They're just trying to create something here, the Tigers off half back, and the result of that, Cameron has a shot directly in front of goal.
And Jeremy Cameron, he's in fine form. You'd back him in from here. He lets it fly from 51 metres. Just misses to the left-hand side for a minor score. Geelong, they move to 6-4-40. Richmond, 2 straight 12, 4 minutes played, second term.
Gee, could put them to the sword, Jeremy Cameron. Milestone game, as you touched on, Jess. Looking lively early as the Tigers go short. Flostone finds Grimes, right back pocket. Bit of silence in the heavily favoured Richmond crowd, even though it is a Geelong home game. Grimes heads up the members' wing. Plenty of players await. Clean run at it by De Koning. He was cut off by his teammate, and Zach Guthrie. Doesn't matter for the Cats. They've got the footy. Centres his kick to Duncan. Handball into the square. Finds Kolajasny. Zero pressure at the moment as they head inside 50, but the kick isn't great. Straight to the hole where McIntosh was waiting.
That's well.
Heads out towards the southern side on the 45. Spots Dan Rioli at left half back. Close to the boundary line. He'll chip it over the top to Tarrant, the former Root. Marks uncontested. And can keep going down the line as Flostone kept running. It's all the backmen at the moment. True centre wing, southern side.
Loston chips laterally back to McIntosh, who's got it on the edge of the square. Can wheel around and send the Tigers into attack. It's a shank off the boot. Rewalt got fingertips to it, couldn't complete the mark. Zach Guthrie picks it up. He's tackled into the turf by Edwards, and we've got a stoppage 30 metres out from Richmond's goal directly in front.
Quick ball up. Off the contest, Guthrie immediately applies a tackle. The ball's not really going anywhere. Poor Judson Clark's caught at the bottom of it all. We'll try again. Soto up against Stanley, patted it over his head. Soto intended for Rewald, who fell over. Now at the back, Clark can try to pick it up again. He's under immediate pressure, and the Cats this time can clear. Duncan over the top to Selwood, who just says, let's slow things down. Takes the mark, chips it short to Menegola on the boundary line, southern side.
I've just watched Blitzer run from defensive 50 to his half-forward flank, unopposed. So that's the attitude that you're talking about, Berkey, at the moment with the Tigers.
Oh, Menegola dances around McIntosh on the mark and sends it towards half-forward, but it's picked off by Tarrant of the Tigers.
To allow a player to run all the way there free is just unacceptable.
Tarrant's searching kick looking for Martin was ill-directed. It's picked off by Duncan. He's marked true centre wing position out of side. Chip short to Selwood, who's marked on the edge of the square. Has Tui all alone on the members' side wing, ignores that and decides to chip forward, looking for Myers, but it's picked off by Bolton, who was then copped one high by Cameron. A bit of push and shove, and Bolton will take the free kick. That's centre-half back for the Tigers as the players are still going on with it.
Flostone came in immediately to let him know what he thought about that action. Bolton had so much momentum that it just looked ugly, but he's okay. Pop back to his feet as a little bit of the scuffle continues. He'll play on from centre-half back, straight through the spine, up to half-forward. Rewalt's outnumbered, and a big fly from Stewart, who claims it over the back.
Cameron's still on top of Pickett. Now Bolton's gone back on top of him as well.
Stewart pops it short, finds Holmes down the line, hits Hawkins still inside the centre square. Too far out to score, wheels and goes, right forward pocket. He's looking for Cam Guthrie, who's crunched by a couple of Tigers defenders. Still on the deck, paddled it out looking for Myers, who became the tackler on Broad. He dived onto the footy. Umpire will circle, holding the ball. Free kick to the Cats, 40 from home, 45-degree angle to the right. They're going to get a shot on goal through Brian Myers, just quickly downstairs to Kieran Peterson.
Robbie Tarrant has just headed down into the rooms for that concussion test. Berkey rightly called that no one went near him at quarter time, but they've been reviewing him over and over on the bench, and he's gone down for his concussion test.
That's terrible by Richmond. You've wasted all this time. He's got to have his concussion test now. Should have been having it at the time.
Myers goalless in 8 of his 10 games this season. Can he break the drought? He can! Exquisite finish at the punt road end. The Cats have pushed it out to a game-high 34-point margin at the MCG. 7-4-46. Richmond 2 straight 12, 8.5 played in the second on Grandstand AFL. Your experts Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
So what would have been happening is they would have been doing a concussion test on Presty, but they really didn't need to do one. They ruled him out pretty quickly. When you get up and you're wobbling all over the place, there's no need to do a concussion test. You can rule him out straight away. Robbie Tarrant didn't get one. Quarter time, they didn't do anything about it, and they've waited till about 6 or 7 minutes into this quarter for the AFL to go to them and say, hey, look at this vision. Here's a guy who's on the ground, he's tonic posturing, his arms are stiff up in the air. That means you have to go and do a test. Now they've got to wait 20 minutes and go and do one at 6-7 minute mark of the second quarter. Should have been done 10 minutes ago.
So it's danger signs now for the Tigers. It's Geelong winning out of the middle through Blitzarves. He pumps Geelong back into attack, but playing in front is Broad and takes the mark. Inside defensive 50, swings it out wide to Gibkiss. He hand passes to Rioli at right half back. With a bit of room to move, he's kicked down the wing. There's absolutely no one there. I think he was looking for Lynch. It pitched in front, and O'Connor takes the easy mark.
Tigers are in disarray.
25-year-old O'Connor, centre wing, heads back towards the attacking 50. Tigers have numbers, but they're beaten. Henry looks outstanding on return. Heads to the top of the goal square. 2 on 2. Holmes can't get a clean fly. Grimes at the back, dives onto the footy. Stengel's on him. Comes out to Holmes again. Spun in the tackle. Has to go for a third time. Dumped. Ball comes out to Close. He gets it off to Smith. Stengel, tight in the right forward pocket. Snaps but gets nothing on it. Sits up top of the goal square. Close will become the tackler on Rioli, but Richmond can clear as Short heads out towards the southern side. Rewalt in a one-on-one with Stewart. Has given away the free kick for a hold. He thought he had it. Geelong get another entry.
Rewalt wasn't happy about that either as Stewart kicks into the pocket. Beautiful delivery and finds Stengel, who's 40 out from home, 5 metres in from the boundary.
Again, when the ball takes that long to get back to a player to kick the ball, a player should not be able to lead out and take a ball on the chest, even if it is near the boundary line. Richmond players are just, they're shell-shocked. They're guarding grass, they're not picking up plays. The last forward entry for the Cats should have been a goal. Basically, they stuffed it up.
He's in great form. Tyson Stengel has kicked multiple goals now in 9 games so far this season. He's kicked 2 in the opening quarter. What can he do here from the boundary? It's going to go across the face and fisted through for a minor score by the Tigers' defence. Geelong well on top here at the MCG. They lead 7-5-47 to Richmond, 2 straight 12, 11 played in the second term.
And Nathan Broad better watch himself too. He was running behind Tom Hawkins back into the goal square and shoved him fair and square into the back, into the post. And the umpire saw it and said, hey, come on, settle down. But you don't want to be doing that too often.
Inside 50s, 9-1 in favour of the Cats this term. Richmond haven't registered a score as they head out to the southern wing. Graham puts his head over the footy, gets a handball back towards Broad, over the top, sold Clark into a bit of trouble. He tries to keep it in play on the boundary line, but Shea Bolton will bust through and knock it over. Be tossed back into play right in front of the Shane Warne stand on that southern side. Geelong by 35 points. On the text line, CJ in Brunswick thought this could be a grand final preview. It's not shaping up that way at the moment. The Cats look hot. The Blitzarves caught behind Nankervis, knocked it down. Bolton tried to cut it off but overran the footy. Baker knocks it out, got it to Graham. Now Bolton tackled as he kicked it but heads to half forward. And De Koning's waiting back once again, beating Lynch. This kid's going to be a star. He's been excellent for the Cats on debut. Sam De Koning, 7 intercepts per game. He'll chip it short to Tom Stewart in defensive 50.
Well, they're not used to it, the Cats forward line, the Richmond forward line coming in really under pressure. They're so used to, especially in the last 3 or 4 weeks, that they've been unopposed. Midfielders have been able to come through and just deliver the ball inside their forward 50 at will. But tonight, they've been able to be pressured, and it's been fantastic by the Geelong Footy Club. They've been able to put the pressure on the midfield of the Geelong Cats.
So ball in on the members' wing. Players dive on it, and we've got a stoppage.
Jesse, if you can spot who's playing on Jeremy Cameron, I'll give you $10 because he's running around in the middle of the ground just doing absolutely whatever he wanted. Nathan Broad's playing a loose player, leaving Cameron do whatever he wants.
Certainly in fine form as the Tigers win this clearance. Short, long kick inside 50. Umpires found a free kick going against the Tigers. And it's against Rewalt, and De Koning will take the free kick in the left back pocket for Geelong. They lead by 35 points halfway through the second term.
Bit of an unrealistic attempt there from Rewalt, I think, as De Koning exits defensive 50. Out to the members' side to a pack. Off hands, it spills to Nankervis. Tried to get one out to Baker. Stuck out of hand Atkins. He cut it off. Now Stengel weaves through traffic. Has time to think about his kick down the line. A bit too short for Myers. Richmond have a few numbers to cut it off. Baker uses Broad, arches the back. Atkins had a bit of his jumper and was tugged along the deck. Gives it out to Rioli. Handball was not clean. Sold his teammate into immediate danger.
I found Jeremy Cameron Berkey. He's on the bench.
Yeah.
Says he's well held at the moment.
Seriously, there was no one near him for 10 minutes.
Ball up on the members' side. Nankervis gets it down to Ralph Smith.
You're not getting 10
Off a step, he kicked it straight up towards right half forward where three Cats were sitting back, but De Koning couldn't keep it in. The Tigers, a bit of luck there. Boundary throwing to come right half forward. Yet to register a score in the second term. They trailed by 18 at quarter time. Now down by 35.
Geelong have piled on 2 goals, 3 in this second term. As Stanley tries to jump over Nankervis. Spills to Myers. He caught one high, gets the free kick. So left half back, Brian Myers can chip it. Shaw looking for Selwood. He just got the hands free. Was it a push in the back? It is. The Tigers fans aren't happy about it, but I think that one was there. It's Duncan, in fact, who gets the free kick. Off to Cam Guthrie. He chips short looking for O'Connor. Now to Smith. Evades a couple of would-be tacklers. His hand pass looking for Tui. He spilled it. Now it falls the way of O'Connor. He's under pressure with the kick out to the members' wing. Atkins did well to get around a would-be defender, but that kick's not a good one. It's going to bounce just in front of Selwood, in front of the interchange gates, and he shows all the poise and experience to find Smith.
A little bit more power, and that certainly would have been over the boundary line. The Cats get another chance. Smith inside to Atkins. Had Duncan all alone inside. Hands it off to him. The kick inside 50 wasn't great to Hawkins. Had Vlostone on him. Grimes coming through to cut it off with the intercept mark. He'll chip it short to Vlostone. The 3-time premiership players combining. Now up to Dustin Martin.
Cats look like a team that have got too much time and space and too many options because they're choosing some bad ones at the moment. If they start choosing better options, they'll actually cut Richmond apart.
The Bronx cheers it for Liam Baker, who receives a free kick. Sounds like the Tigers haven't had too many this quarter from Dustin Martin's kick off right half back. We're on the members' wing.
They don't need to do nothing special here, Richmond. They just need to get some momentum their way. Just hang on to the football for a little while. Get the ball in your hands for a little bit and just play consistent football.
Baker uses Vlostone. Now Graham plays on, bangs it into the 50, and Lynch soars. Couldn't claim it, but can mop it up at the back. Gathers from 20, hands it to the top of the goal square. Soldo's kick is smothered. Oh, that was a mess. On the goal line, it's gone through. They're going to have to score a review this, I think. Baker's stuck a boot out off the smother. Goal umpire doesn't seem confident. And we're headed upstairs for a score review. Either way, Richmond are going to get a score, and it's come very late in this second term. 17 minutes.
I'm saying goal.
Yeah.
So,
goal
off the
Baker.
smother. Baker's got a kick. Buse stuck a hand out, but touches it over the line. This should be pretty clear-cut, you'd think. Taking a fair bit of time, though, as the night sets in at the MCG.
It's a goal. Soldo had the European heritage. He thought he was in front of the goals. The ball came waist height to him in the goal square, and he tried to do the big sort of round kicking volley.
I'm not sure Baker actually got his boot to this.
Oh, we're checking the kick from Baker.
Hasn't gone back far enough on the review.
No,
he's still looking at Buse
actually,
touching it, which is over the line. I'm not sure why it's taken so long. And you're right, Jess, there's a possibility that it may have just clipped the back of his heel, but regardless, it's a goal. Liam Baker's on the scoreboard, as are Richmond in the second quarter. Back down to a 29-point deficit. Geelong 7-5-47. Richmond 3 straight 18. Dion Prestia subbed out of the game. Karen Peterson, any more carnage for the Tigers?
It is absolute carnage down here. Jack Rewalt's just come from the ground with a very nasty looking cut to the back of his head. He's likely to head down into the rooms and will need some Very decent stitches, I would say.
Oh, Tommy Lynch's knee hit him right in the back of the head when he went for a mark. So friendly fire.
Won't be happy with that, Jack Rewalt, because I think he has wanted a couple of free kicks that have gone against him, and now he's got one in the back of the scone. So,
is he ever happy though, Jack? To be totally honest,
it's a very fair point.
So big call now on the Richmond midfield. Baker and Short have gone in there, so with Prestia down, they've actually reshuffled their small defenders and pushed them into midfield. So they've got to answer here.
The Tigers are down to just 2 rotations at the moment, with Rewalt getting stitches and Tarrant still getting his head checked.
And Geelong win a free kick out of the middle through Atkins. It's a long kick inside 50 to a pack. Oh, beautiful mark there by Milestone. Such a reliable defender for them. And read that one beautifully. And chips short to find Broad in the right back pocket. And he can go. Gets away from close on the mark. Hand passes over the top to Rioli. He gives it back to Broad, who kept running. They've now moved it to the wing, the Tigers. Hand pass to Short. Short kick to Baker. From right half forward, looking for Bolton in the pocket. In fact, it's Martin who marks just inside the line. He's 40 out against the boundary, looking for an option, but I think he might end up going back and having a shot.
The best news for the Tigers is that it's not even half time yet. So if you want to be 29 points down, now's the time to be 29 points down, because there is still plenty of time to get yourself back into this. And as we know, 29 points is not that big.
So back into the side this week from illness. The Tigers need this one from Dusty, and he delivers. Geelong 7-5-40. Richmond 4 straight 24. As we tick into time on to the second quarter, your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Apart from the first quarter goal from Maurice Rioli, the build-up from Richmond through Daniel Rioli to Martin, then all the way up through Bolton, that there was the best bit of play I've seen Richmond do all night. Broad took it upon himself, half-back flank, played on and created some opportunities and had lanes either side of him, and he had the runners. He had Short in there. Baker as well was in that delivery forward. So at the moment, I thought that little bit of play, Berkey, says the signature of Richmond Football Club. We've seen them do that part of play football for the last sort of 3 to 4 years. That's what they've got to get back to. They've got to do a little bit more of that from the back half.
Yeah, Dusty's first possession this quarter was a very good one.
The voices of Chris Johnson, Nathan Burke, Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster with you on Grandstand AFL. In the middle, tapped down to Ross, caught in the tackle but paddled it out to Dan Rioli. He's under pressure on the southern side but did well. Gets it to Pickett, tried to give it back to Rioli. It had already looked away, had to turn, gather, gives it to Baker. Richmond now through the square. Ralph Smith stabs it up to half forward, hits Soldo, the sub on for Dion Prestia. Doesn't have a lot of options ahead of him, so he'll give it off. Baker from 55 bangs it to the top of the goal square, and Bolton beats O'Connor in the air, used the body, plays on, opens the angle and snaps truly. Here come the Tigers. Back-to-back majors for Richmond. Shea Bolton on the board. They're 5 straight 30. Geelong 7-5-47. A 17-point game at the MCG. Late stages of the second quarter on Grandstand AFL.
Well, they're nothing if not efficient. That's 5 inside 50s for 3 goals this quarter, Jono.
Again, they just had a wave going there, Berkey, off half-back. I know both Pickett and Rioli mucked around with a bit, but they actually, all the half-backs came from behind and they ran and they carried the ball. So it took a little bit of a while to get the ball going forward, but geez, that was just a great mark by Bolton. And I think that's what the Tigers have got to get back to, attacking in waves, and that's what they did in the last shot they had on goal with Martin, who went back from a tight angle, but then they had another wave coming through the middle of the ground.
So Richmond with the last 3 is Geelong. Well, after Geelong got out to a 35-point lead, and the Tigers win it out of the middle again. Ross, a high kick towards half forward, bounces in front of McIntosh. Martin comes through and collects nicely, wheels around on the right. A short chip finds McIntosh, just couldn't complete the mark, and then that's a turn tackler against Atkins, who's pushed over the line for a throw in 50 metres around from Richmond's goal at right half forward. They trail by 17 points, 22 minutes played in the second.
The free kick count has gone Geelong's way, 15-6, which is why you can hear the Bronx cheers and boos at times from the crowd who aren't happy with Tom Stewart, aren't happy with the umpires. Meanwhile, Soldo takes it out of the ruck contest with Stanley, gave it to Bolton, off a step, spiral punt up towards the goal face. Minor score on the right-hand side. They're peppering Richmond. 16 points the margin now. It was all Geelong at the start of the second quarter. The Tigers firing late as we approach half-time.
So Duncan, short to Smith in the right back pocket, has a bounce. Could run to defensive 50 and short kick finds Close, who was pushed as he marked it, and that is 50. Going against Ralph Smith. He's got the arms out. That used to be descent and another 50, but I think it'll just cost him one on this occasion.
I think that was more of a, oh no, please don't, rather than a descent.
So Close is marched to within 70 metres of Geelong's goal. He kicks to a pack in the pocket. It falls to ground. Nankervis is there for the Tigers. Hand passes to Rioli. Under pressure with the kick. They might turn it over here. And taking the intercept mark for the Tigers is, it looks like that's Smith, who's marked 45 metres out. Slight angle to the left.
Yeah, when you do those really quick kicks out of the back line, you've got to get it far and wide. Doing it at round about less than a 45-degree angle, landing 40 metres out from goal, it's going to be in trouble.
So Isaac Smith to end a run of 3 consecutive goals to the Tigers. Smith answers back for Geelong. They move to 8-5-53. Richmond 5-1-31. 25 minutes played in this second term. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, as you said, Berkey, it is probably a little bit of an error, but I think it's the pressure of that man there coming across in Duncan, I think it may have been, or Guthrie, was it? Guthrie coming across. You know, he's had a fair night out already, but to be able to see him do that type of stuff, and look, as he was getting the kick away, he was pulled down. But geez, Smith at the moment, I've watched him and Blitzarve just run up and down this wing all night. The amount of ground that he covers, Smith, all the way through the season, it's just unbelievable. But that there, go back, kick the goal, make them pay, put that margin back out to 22 points.
So Geelong with the major, but some good news for the Tigers, Karen Peterson.
Finally, some good news for Richmond down here. Both Robbie Tarrant and Jack Rewalt have re-emerged from the rooms and have taken their place on the ground, ready to go.
High bounce in the middle, neither ruck got a clean tap. Graham diving onto the footy, couldn't get a clean disposal. Now Nankervis taken down. Good tackle laid by Cam Guthrie. Had 10 in the opening half last week.
He's had 4 tackles tonight, but the Cats have only had 9.
Stanley wins it down, straight down the throat of Ross. He got it out towards short, couldn't get a clean touch. Now Nankervis uses Ross. McIntosh has some space in the square. He can go. Heads into the attacking 50. Spots Morris Rioli, who flies and clunks it. Duncan tried to stop him back with the flight, but lost him in the air. And Morris Rioli will chip it short, as you do when you've got a superstar in Dustin Martin open. 40 out from goal, tight angle to the right.
Well, he wouldn't have had the length, Morris, unfortunately. He could barely kick over 40 metres on a fresh day, so that was a smart choice by him. Had Dusty there. No, Dusty has kicked the goal from this pocket already. Just a real clever give off there, knowing your knowing your capabilities, and he wasn't capable of kicking the ball that far outside 50.
And he's 5 metres further out than last time and about 2 metres closer to the middle of the ground.
And he pulled it left to right last time, so you'll probably do that again.
Opens the angle a little bit on the run-up. Looks for the drop punt this time. It's starting right and not coming back enough. Minus score for the Tigers. 21-point deficit. Geelong 8-5-53. Richmond 5-2-32. We've still got 2 minutes to play in the second quarter as the Cats look to exit defensive 50.
Stewart short to Smith. In the left back pocket, back to Stewart. You can tell by the boos from the Tigers fans as Stewart long down the wing looking for Blitzarves. It's offhand. Zach Guthrie collects. Just chips it to space in the end, and it's picked off by Grimes, who hand passes out wide to Milestone. A sweeping offensive hand pass to Jack Rewalt at right half forward for Richmond. Can send it to a dangerous position inside 50. Tui flies, can't complete the mark. Buse at ground level, gets the hand pass away to Smith, back to Tui, who's stripped of it. Menangola has a go. And now Blitzarves, here's a rush kick outside defensive 50, might be coming back the other way as Tarrant collects, but his hand pass goes over the boundary line for a throw-in. 75 metres around from the Tigers' goal, they trail by 21.
Interesting decision there by Rewalt to go long to the square. He had
Bolton
short on the 50-metre line, who could have then taken it into about 45 and had a shot.
Yeah, it's a bad choice.
Toss back in, double tap down from Soldo straight to Graham. Arched the back away from a couple of tacklers. Retreats back with the kick to Vlostone. Centre wing Members side, inside he finds Ralph Smith. No one on the mark, so he can stab the kick inside 50, and Soldo is left all alone as well. Takes the uncontested grab, 40 from home, straight in front.
It's too far out to volley that one, so good choice of catching it. But good ball movement there by the Tigers. They intercepted the ball on the wing. They went one into the middle, another one into the middle. And Hugo Ralph Smith wanted to take off, but composed himself and found Soldo. So this is the second mark he'll take inside forward 50. So doing a good job up there.
It's a courageous kick by Graham, though, to come inside.
Omitted last week, Soldo, the medical sub today after 2 goals in the VFL. Short approach, kicks from 45, it's starting left and no chance of coming back. The minor score again for Richmond, 20 points the deficit, 8-5-53 the Cats, Richmond 5-3-33, approaching the 29-minute mark at the MCG. Great atmosphere as Tom Stewart, as you can hear, brings the ball back into play.
No one stands the mark, so he runs about 30 metres and then kicks out to the members' wing. It's off hands and spills to Henry. So Cats to win position. Menengola, his hand pass, looking for Atkins, who paddles it into the path of Selwood from centre half forward. A searcher kick inside 50, lands into the path of Holmes, who read it nicely and marks 45 metres out, slide angle to the right.
It's a great kick there by Selwood. He had 2-on-2 inside forward 50. Tarrant had covered Hawkins. Normally coming streaming through the middle, you get attracted by the big full forward. But Tarrant had Hawkins covered, so he just put it to the advantage of his teammate against the inexperienced Ralph Smith.
So Max Holmes on the halftime siren. He sprays that one across, out of bounds in the end on the full. So no score from that set shot. Halftime here at the MCG. It's Geelong 8-5-53 leading Richmond 5-3-33.
Goal scorers at the major break. Cameron in game 200 has 2 for the Cats alongside Tyson Stengel, a former Tiger as well, who had never kicked a goal against his former team heading into this evening, now has 2 on them. Singles to Smith, Myers, Henry and Blitzavs. Meanwhile for the Tigers, all individual goal scorers. Dustin Martin, Liam Baker, Tom Lynch, Shea Bolton and also Morris Rioli. It was the Cats hot early. They kicked the first 2 of the second quarter. Richmond answering back late with 3 of their own. Along with the last laugh through Isaac Smith, extending their 18-point quarter-time margin to 20 at the major break, 8-5-53 to 5-3-33. It's been great to have your company on ABC Radio and Sport Digital and on the text line 0437 774 774. Your experts, though, to break down the opening half, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, it was just a good opportunity. Look, it's still 20 points. There's not much in the difference between quarter time, but I thought what I seen from Richmond, they're able to run a couple of times in waves, and you can just see them slowly building. I see at various different times that they're just a little bit unsure when they're pushing the ball out in a contest, and they're pushing it into the favour of Geelong rather than actually holding onto the ball and thinking their way through the tackle at the moment, Berkey. I think they're getting tackled and they're getting rid of it a little bit too quickly. I think they need to just think of their way through it. Read the play, read what's going on with the umpire, how much they're letting you get away with when you've been tackled. But I just think they're trying to release the ball a little bit too quick, and they just need to hang on to it. I think Nick Glossen was fantastic that quarter for Richmond. He sort of set the scene. I think Broad wasn't as good as him, but Broad took on a couple of opportunities to create some play, and I think that was what the Tigers needed. On the other hand, I think Geelong at the moment, they are just being pretty smart and professional. I've always called them a professional outfit, Berkey. Every week they come out, they serve out the same stuff. They're never getting blown out of the water, or they're never letting a team get away from them. And tonight, I think it's been very, very similar to that. They've been able to get their nose in front early in that first quarter and just keep able to chip away with it. They're very, very, how would you say, they're very, very consistent in around their ball use. They don't try the impossible. They always just try the simple kick. It's just fundamentals. That's all it is. They don't try and thread the needle through an impossible kick in the corridor. They actually just use the fundamentals. If there's someone on, they'll use them nice and easy, whether it's a 20, 25 metre kick, and that's what opens it all up. And then they have the runners coming past, and they're great users by hand.
Yeah, it's a bit of a game for the defenders at the moment. You're looking at the top ball winners for the Tigers have lost them with 16, Rioli with 15. You got Broad with 11, and Tommy Stewart's had 15 for the Cats, the most for that team. So the defenders are pretty much really on top. The only forwards who look lively are Jeremy Cameron with the 2 goals, and Stengel also with the 2 goals. Tommy Lynch, we saw him kick 1 in that first quarter. Did a good passage of play. It ended up with a Baker goal, but really the defenders are on top at the moment. Great effort by the Tigers to get themselves back into the game by kicking 3 in a row. They would have been really upset about giving that one late to the Cats to just get it back out to 20 points. But the good news is for the Tigers, 20 points is not insurmountable. They have the ability to pile on really, really quick goals. At the moment, the inside 50s are 33-18 in favour of the Cats. They need to hold field position a lot better than what they were. Pretty much for the whole game, Cats have dominated field position in their front half. The Tigers, once it goes in the forward line, they're either scoring or it's coming out far too easy. I'd love to see a bit more forward pressure from the Tigers, small players, to have some repeat entries and manage to get their halfback flankers who are getting a lot of the footy, but they're getting a lot of the footy in the back line. If they can get up around the wing and stop that ball there transitioning from one end to the other, get some repeat entries, well then I think Rewald and Lynch and these guys are going to have more influence on this game through some repeat entries. So look, it's a 20-point margin, but it's really anyone's game at the moment, I think.
For those who've just joined us recently or you missed the opening quarter, Dion Prestia subbed out of the game after a high contact shoulder to the head from Tom Stewart. That was after the ball as well, which will certainly be looked at by the MRO. At times, Prestia is the glue of the Richmond midfield, and we've seen when he's been injured, they've gone on to lose. But they were behind before that. It looked like Geelong were on top in the middle, but it's only really gotten worse. The centre clearance is 9-3 now. Really, they're just battling to fill that void.
They are, and look, he sets up their structure. He sets up where the hit zones are. But I think at the moment, so what they've done is they've made the call. I think I spoke about it early in that second quarter with Short and Baker going in. Look, both of those players throughout the year, this year and last year, have gone through the middle of the ground and been able to perform. So I think that's what they're putting all their bets on at the moment. Is those two? They're not playing a small defender role at the moment. They're actually in the middle. They're in the stoppages. They're going to try and make sure that those two boys can actually get themselves involved somehow. They're not the players that will break open a game, consistently, but what they need to do, they need to play their role today. They need to play their role. The team need them as an extra midfielder in there, and whether it's one of them are going to get on top of it and have their 30 to 35 possessions, or they just need to nullify one of the other midfielders of Geelong at the moment, because Tom Stewart is going okay, and I think through the midfield, I think it's Mitch Duncan is probably the biggest one in the midfield there, is able to get out and get off the chain with his 13 uncontested possessions.
The voice of Chris Johnson alongside Nathan Burke, your experts, Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster with you on Grandstand AFL. Earlier today, Carlton defeating Fremantle by 31 points. It was pretty close at half-time, but the Blues running away with it puts the top four really up in the air at the moment. So Fremantle down into third. They could drop even further if Geelong get over the line. Carlton have snuck currently into the top four again. If Geelong win, they'll jump back out to fifth. But it's a really tight race at the moment between those top-tier teams. Melbourne look like they might be hitting form once again, but September looks like it's going to be a really exciting month of footy. At the moment here at the MCG, though, Geelong by 20 points over Richmond in what was shaping up to be one of the games of the round. We'll see if the Tigers can fire a shot in the second half. 8-5-53 to 5-3-33. Great to have your company on ABC Radio and Sport Digital. The second half coming up very shortly on Grandstand AFL. But for now, let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. The US President Joe Biden is urging Americans to take to the ballot box to bring about change following a Supreme Court decision ending the right across the country for women to obtain an abortion. The ruling reverses the 1973 decision in Roe v. Wade and will now be up to individual states to decide if abortion is legal. Mr. Biden says the decision's been driven by radical Republican ideology and voters must act in the midterm November elections. He says states are already moving to end a woman's right to an abortion.
State laws banning abortion are automatically taking effect today, jeopardizing the health of millions of women, some without exceptions. So extreme that women could be punished for protecting their health. So extreme that women and girls were forced to bear their rapist's child.
Victoria has a new Deputy Premier and several new Cabinet Ministers 5 months before the next state election. Justine Longmore has the details.
Transport Infrastructure Minister Jacinta Allen is the new Deputy Premier, becoming the second woman in the state's history in the position. Colin Brooks, Sonia Kilkenny, Lizzie Blanthorne, Steve Demopoulos and Harriet Shing have also been promoted. The positions were vacated by 5 outgoing senior ministers, including the shock resignation of former Deputy Premier James Merlino. The Premier, Daniel Andrews, says he has confidence in the new team.
Great diversity, different life experience, different points of view, different parts of the state.
They will be sworn in on Monday.
The military government of the West African nation of Mali has agreed to transition back to democracy in 2 years. The military wanted 5 years, but the West African regional group ECOWAS insisted on the shorter path back to civilian rule. Mali's been grappling with the long-running Islamist insurgency. Human Rights Watch is welcoming a decision seeking further investigations into Philippines' war on drugs under former President Rodrigo Duterte. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, is requesting he restart a probe into the controversial campaign. Human Rights Watch is accusing the Philippines government of not being serious about justice for the families of those killed during the drug campaign. Tens of thousands of people in Georgia have staged a rally in the capital Tbilisi, a day after the European Union deferred a decision on the country's candidacy for new membership. Many are calling for the resignation of the country's Prime Minister, as the BBC's Ryan Dimitri reports.
Carrying Georgian and EU flags, thousands of protesters filled Tbilisi's Central Avenue. Many here are disappointed that the European Council fell short of offering Georgia candidate status for EU membership, and they hold their government responsible. The organizers said that the main obstacle was the influence of an oligarch, Bidzina Ivanishvili, on politics. The EU says Georgia will get the candidate status if it commits to reforms, including free media and independent judiciary.
Organisers of this weekend's Darwin Pride Festival say the event's especially important this year because of comments directed at the trans community during the recent federal election. Hundreds of members of the Top End's LGBTQI community paraded through Darwin CBD as part of a 3-day festival. Organiser Amber Sayers Hunt says the event's a symbol of inclusion following a hurtful period for the community.
Things like that still need to stop. You know, we can't have the leaders of our countries talking about our community like that. It's unacceptable. It's not respectful. And, you know, we're queer, we're here and we vote. If they're going to do things and say things like that, then they're not worth leading this country.
A South East Queensland mayor who's admitted to driving after several glasses of wine says she will not resign. Redland City Mayor Karen Williams' car veered off the road and struck a tree at Cleveland, east of Brisbane, at about 9 o'clock on Thursday night. The incident has caused the state MP for the nearby Kapalaba, Don Brown, to call for her resignation. Ms Williams says she can't remember exactly how many drinks she had and says she's yet to be charged.
Everyone makes mistakes. I'm genuinely sorry for those actions, and I will continue to serve my community and reflect what is necessary for this community to be a better and safer place.
And Victoria Police are investigating a shooting at Faulkner in Melbourne's north. Police say the occupants of a car fired shots into a station wagon on Box Forest Road shortly before midday. A 30-year-old man from Preston suffered gunshot wounds and was taken to hospital in a critical condition. Police believe the shooting was targeted. You're up to date with ABC News.
Power outages can occur at any time. You may lose your electricity, internet, mobile phone service and landline access. And outages can last for days or even weeks at a time. A battery-powered radio may be your only source of information during an outage or in an emergency. Now is the time to check your radio works, has plenty of spare batteries, and make sure it's tuned to your local ABC radio station. ABC Radio is your emergency broadcaster.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Menengola caught one high. He's got the free kick, 55 from home. Beautiful ball inside 50. Cameron's all alone. He's a beautiful striker of the football, and he does so again on this occasion. Nails it from 45 for his second, and Geelong, they're away now.
Still on the deck, paddled it out looking for Myers, who became the tackler on Broad. He dived onto the footy. Umpire will circle, holding the ball. Myers goalless in 8 of his 10 games this season. Can he break the drought? He can! Exquisite finish.
Baker from right half forward looking for Bolton in the pocket. In fact, it's Martin who marks just inside the line. Back into the side this week from illness. The Tigers need this one from Dusty and he delivers.
Baker from 55 bangs it to the top of the goal square and Bolton beats O'Connor in the air, used the body, plays on, opens the angle and snaps truly. Here come the Tigers.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Welcome back to the MCG. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL. The second half not too far away. Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster, Nathan Burt, Chris Johnson, Karen Peterson with you. Looked like Geelong were going to run away with the game in the early stages of that second quarter. They pushed it out to a game-high 35-point lead. The Tigers answering back with 3 goals of their own. The margin sits at 20 points at the major break. 8-5-53 to 5-3-33 earlier today. Carlton defeating Fremantle by 31 points. Charlie Curnow had 4 goals. Sam Walsh had 40 touches at the Docklands. It means the live ladder's a bit out of shape at the moment. Melbourne in first, Brisbane in second, Fremantle third, Carlton fourth. If Geelong win, they knock the second, third and fourth down and jump into the top 2. If Richmond can get a win this evening, they'll move up to either 5th or 6th. So plenty at stake in round 15 and got plenty of great matchups across the weekend. Still to come tonight, Sydney and St Kilda at the SCG. The commentary team there will be Quentin Hull, Daniel Garb, Jason Saddington, Joel Patfull and Sophie Clapham. We'll get a preview very shortly with Q and see how the SCG is looking ahead of that contest. But for now, all eyes fixated on 2 teams that have dominated premiership contention over the past decade, and both of them scrapping for a bit of relevance in season 2022 as they look to push inside the top 4 and stake their case for a premiership tilt once again. It looks like Geelong are the cleaner of the ball users, Berkey and Jono, but Richmond at times with their chaos footy can find ways back into the game. The big news of the opening half, though, Dion Prestia subbed out of the game. Tom Stewart with a late bump on him as a result. He has officially been reported, so we'll will be determined whether he goes to the tribunal or not, but he's certainly going to be looked at for that incident.
It doesn't look good. I guess, you got to wonder whether it was really intentional or not, or whether he's trying to put on he didn't think he was going as fast or was going to hit him as hard, but it was a fair whack, and it was like an old school, for the listeners there, it was an old school shirt front almost right in the middle of the sternum of the chest, and his shoulder has just carried through and collected Prestia right in the head. And I must say it was quite disturbing to see the attempts of him trying to get up off the ground, Berkey. It looked like he was going to be in a lot of trouble, and it turned out that way. So I think at the moment they've got to put that past them. I think they have. The crowd obviously haven't. So, they've got to make sure that, that's going to be out of the game.
Speaking of concussions, Berkey, the big talking point in the media centre at halftime was the fact that Robbie Tarrant had a huge shirt front in the air, got clean wiped up in defensive 50, stayed out there even though it looked like he was done. And they waited until basically midway through the second quarter to do his concussion test, which is now passed. But in the moment, it looked like he shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, so whether they were preconceived with Prestia or not, but they wasted a good 10 minutes of playing time. They should have been doing the concussion during the 6-minute quarter time break. That would have been the ideal time to actually do it. And as we saw, they were down to 2 on the bench once Rewald came off. Tommy Lynch, Karen Peterson noted that he sprinted all the way from the goal line out to the bench, and they've gone, no, mate, you can't. And he got a bit shirty with that and had to go back on and play the game. That's the sort of disruption that sort of thing occurs. But
so, Berkey, you reckon they've done that deliberately? So if they had done it at quarter time, I'm thinking if they do it at quarter time when they were supposed to do it, or when they were supposed to do it, that then they have 2 players out with concussion. They've let it go a little bit longer so he can answer the questions a little bit better or easier, and then pass that test potentially.
Don't know, mate. It's a pretty good conspiracy there, that one. But just putting my old tribunal hat on, looking at Tommy Stewart, I don't want to preempt too much, but it's careless. It's high. Because it got him in the head, and because a player goes off immediately with concussion, it's at a minimum it's high impact. So from my memory, that's around about 2 weeks straight up. If they want to do potential to cause injury and add an extra one on, they can do that. I doubt they will go with severe, because if a player gets up and ends up jogging off, it won't get into the severe. If he was on the cart loaded onto that and driven off, then they could go severe. So to me, it's probably a 2-week holiday for Tommy Stewart.
On the text line 0437 774 774, Mark says the Tigers need effort and attitude from all of their players. The result will then take care of itself. Annie says, Chris J and Nathan B, you two are super commentators and not hesitant to call it as it is, refreshing and appreciated. And Grant in Waterloo says, good call as usual, listening via the ABC app. Go Cats, says Grant. So at the moment, Geelong do look up and about, and they're just moving the ball so cleanly at the moment. It's everything that West Coast, I think, want to do, but they just can't hit their targets. It's this little chip mark, nice clean entry inside 50.
They've had 33 inside 50s. If they have another 33, they'll win this game. You can't give a team that's got Hawkins and Cameron and Stengel and these guys up front 66 inside 50s. So the Tigers need to start winning the clearances, get the ball forward and lock it in there. They can't let them transition from one end to the other like they have been, Jono.
One of the other matchups that I'm really loving at the moment is obviously Sam De Koning and Lynch. And look, Lynch has only kicked the one goal, but I think De Koning, for him, that's a great opportunity to play on probably one of the better centre-half forwards or full forwards going around in the competition. A couple of times he's actually done himself pretty good. He's been out of position and he's been able to outmark Tom Lynch. And look, he's a super talent. I'm looking forward to watching this kid over the next 10 years. He's going to be one of the all-time greats, I reckon, sitting down there in that defensive unit for Geelong.
Will he transition to the other end when Tommy Hawkins finally turns his toes up?
Well, the thing is, Geelong are really renowned from doing that. Harry Taylor, when he was sort of coming at the back end, they swung him forward, and they're not frightened to change Henry around as well.
So the Cats by 20 heading into the second half. 8-5-53 plays 5-3-33. Let's see what they've got. Jess Webster.
So Nankervis against Stanley in the ruck. Nankervis playing his 100th club game today. And the Tigers win it out of the middle. Here's Short. Just wheels around and kicks down the corridor, but the mark has been taken and intercepted by Atkins of Geelong, who marks at centre-half back and is quick to dish off the hands to Tui, who streams through the middle of the MCG. Kicks Geelong inside 50. It's through the hands of Henry. Here's Stengel, who collects nicely but is wrapped up immediately by McIntosh and forces a stoppage 45 metres out from goal.
Then experienced by young Morris Rioli there, just letting Buse come around and get around the back and get that forward entry.
Tossed up, Nankervis took it out of the ruck contest. Threw it on the boot as well. Out to the defensive 50. Duncan with the half volley. Put it back in. Through Baker at the back. Hawkins left it for Stengel and he's mowed down by Nankervis. Met a brick wall. Grimes can gather for Richmond. Gets it out to Gibcus. He'll clear it out towards the southern side. Right half back. A bit short for Lynch. Tumbled through his legs. Morris Rioli overran it as well. Dusty tries to come through, but Stewart cut him off. In the tackle, it spilled to Cam Guthrie. Back inside 50. He kicks it to the hole where Nankervis is waiting. He'll look to switch to McIntosh.
He kicks to the wing. Edwards is all alone on centre wing. Members side. Kicks short to Rewald at centre-half forward. He has Bolton all alone in the pocket. He goes in his direction. Bolton's got it. Marks 5 metres out from goal. Close against the boundary line. Will have to curl it around the corner. And he does so now immediately, and he hits the post.
Don't hurry. Why you hurry?
Chance gone begging for Shea Bolton, who coming into the game has kicked 23 goals, 22 for the season.
Why does he do that, though? You don't have to. You want to kick it around the corner, at least take your time, kick around the corner. You don't have to fake anyone. He's got his back towards goal and he spins around really quickly.
Isaac Smith exits defensive 50 for the Cats, takes a bounce to Reece Stanley, who's nudged over the boundary line. It'll be tossed back into play. Maybe a bit of karma. Yeah. Shea Bolton from last week showing it to
the other thing, Berkey, you think you're going to kick it, but you actually can waste up 30 seconds to give your midfield and your defenders a time to set up. That ball transition pretty quick, and it's going to turn over and go really, really quick the other way. Give your defence and your midfield time to set up.
Cats by 19 off the ruck contest. Graham tried to barge through but lost the footy. Selwood can gather. He swung in the tackle and turned it over. Richmond now heading forward through Short. Skies it up towards the ceiling. Tapped down by Smith at half back for the Cats. On hands and knees, Tui can't get a clean disposal. Martin rips it away, gave it to Baker. Lost it as he tried to get Book to ball, but Edwards comes to assist. Gives it to Graham in the right forward pocket. Lynch is outnumbered. Stewart's waiting at the back. Handball inside to Duncan. The Cats with composure. And now Cam Guthrie takes the mark in the right back pocket.
Stewart was playing on young Morris Rioli there, gave him no respect, just went 50 metres off him as he came up into the ball and just sat in the middle there. That's why the kick had to be so wide.
So Guthrie short to Cameron, who goes short again to Buse. He gives it back to Cameron from centre half back.
How can you allow that?
Off he goes and has a bounce. Almost had another one. Instead, hand passes to Henry, who hand passes to O'Connor. He's corralled by Morris Rioli, gets around him, and then chips short to Cameron, who kept running, but it's been picked off by Ross, who chips it into the corridor where Baker's all alone, streaming through the middle of the MCG, kicks in the Bolton direction. Big fist coming from Stewart. It falls to Cam Guthrie. His hand pass backwards looking for Tui. He's under pressure. Stewart, he might have coughed it up to Edwards. 10 metres out, dribbles it home for a goal. Fantastic forward pressure by Richmond to get the opening goal of the second half. Geelong 8-5-53, Richmond 6-4-40. The margins cut back to 13 points, 4 minutes played.
Berkey, I'm going to put that down to Morris Rioli. I've been on him for the last minute or so, but his effort in the middle of the ground here to actually put pressure on, that's why they get the forward entry. There were some good efforts inside their forward 50, but him up the ground here, chased down Cameron, then went over and chased down another player. He had about 3 or 4 different efforts in the middle of the ground, which were able for Short to actually intercept and move that ball forward. That was fantastic. I guess that's why he's in the side. He's able to put that pressure on.
You've got to keep an eye on Tommy Stewart as well. Sometimes when you have an incident like he had in that first quarter, you can get a bit shell-shocked, get a little bit rattled. Him handballing that ball indiscriminately to a Richmond player was a little bit shell-shocked.
Cats by 13. Nankervis won it down. He was looking for Baker. Tumbled towards the defensive edge of the square. Baker diving low, slapped it out to the southern side, but Tui's waiting for the Cats. Handball wasn't great. Pickett can cut it off. Through traffic, he gets it off to Short. Flat kick up towards the paint of 50, hits the chest of Riewoldt. Mark will be about 55 out. So Riewoldt will have to move it on. Steps off his line into the right forward pocket. Lynch has got space on De Koning. Plenty of it as well. Takes the uncontested mark. Tight angle right forward pocket. 45 from home.
Led a couple of times there, Lynch. Led 3 or 4 times and just lost De Koning. That's just inexperience. You've got to make sure you check him when he comes back one way. Keep your body. They call it touch and feel. Touch you where he is, touch and feel, and then watch the football at the same time. Unfortunately, he just got lost.
Averaging 3 goals a game this year, Tom Lynch. He's looking for his second tonight. Comes in, crosses the paint of 50, the tightest of angles, but a magnificent finish. Richmond are coming at the G. Single-digit margin after the Cats got it to 35 in the middle of the second term. It's down to a 7-point game once again. Geelong 8-5-53. Richmond 7-4-46. 6 minutes played in the third on Grandstand AFL. Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well done by the Tigers. They're really up their pressure, and Geelong unfortunately through the middle of the ground have just overused it a couple of times, and Richmond have made them pay. But Jack Riewoldt, you can just tell he picks up the footy and straight away he's looking at Tommy Lynch. He allowed him to lead 2-3 times into the pocket, and a great finish. And when you're 20 points down at half time, you need to take every opportunity, and kicking a goal from the boundary, that's taking every opportunity.
Well, their tackling's just been unreal, hasn't it? It's just been, they've been able to snap them up, make sure they're not able to get their hands free and free off the ball, as we spoke about earlier.
Geelong win the centre clearance through Holmes. It kicks towards half forward and lands in the lap of Myers, who's marked at true centre half forward. Kick into the pocket. Hawkins with the one hand. Takes a brilliant mark. 30 metres out, 45-degree angle to the left.
Hasn't had many one-on-one opportunities today, Tommy. He's been in a pack situation a couple of times, but that was just a really good full forward effort. He held out his left hand to keep his opponent at bay and plucked it in on the right.
You have to say Tarrant's done fairly well to shut him down so far this afternoon, but Hawkins wins this one-on-one contest. So Richmond had kicked 5 of the last 6. Hawkins misses to the right.
Bad miss.
8-6-54 lead Richmond 7-4-46. 7.5 play third term as the Tigers bring it in quickly, and McIntosh has it in the left back pocket.
He'll head out towards the members' wing. Riewoldt's got some space, has a sit. Can't take the mark though, he's beaten by Kolajasny. Looks to move it quickly, dangerously as well for Stengel, who was outnumbered. Short through the air, brings it to ground, and then wraps up Blitzavs. Jumped on his back. The height mismatch didn't matter. Ball up to come, right half forward for the Tigers.
Stengel stiffy had his arms chopped quite obviously then.
So ball up to come, just outside Richmond's attacking 50, kicking to the city end in the third. Now Curvis looks to take it out of the ruck, but lost it at the fall of the ball. Menegola's kick smothered, spilled to Blitzavs. He tumbled it into the 50. Flostone was waiting, under a bit of pressure. He clears defensive 50, but only as far as Tui. Great chase down tackle to affect the kick. And now Zach Tui has it. He's going back for the shot as well. Man on the mark will be about 47 out. It was Brian Myers who applied the pressure that forced that turnover.
Can launch it, Tui, as well.
The Irishman. A big boot.
Made some interesting comments in the press during the week. He said, look, we know exactly what the Tigers do. It's just a matter of whether we can stop it.
Contract year for the 32-year-old Zach Tui. 5-1 for the year. Trots in. He's going to heave it from 55. It's carrying all the way home. Salutes the crowd. Zach Tui kills the Tigers' momentum and pushes that lead back out to 14 points. 9-6-60. Richmond 7-4-46. 9 played in the third on Grandstand AFL.
Well, Zach Guthrie, he was actually, it was actually Myers, sorry. He was actually just at the front of that stoppage there, and that's what he's in there for. And we have small forwards to crumb and do all the really clever goals and stuff like that. But more than anything, the ability for small forwards to think that they're still in the game when an opposition's running out of there and putting the pressure. And sometimes it's just perceived pressure that turns the ball over. He was able to get there, and just as Floston thought he hung on to the ball just for a second or two longer than what he should have. He had plenty of time to get that ball out, but he tried to, I guess, weigh up the scenario to be the perfect scenario, and it was not that.
So a good contest here at the G. Geelong searching for a top 2 position as Martin wins it out of the middle through for the Tigers. Releases Flostone by hand. It's a high kick inside 50. Bolted in front position. Marks brilliantly in front of O'Connor. He'll line up for a shot on goal 45 metres out.
That's a little... Oh,
and he wants to play on quickly again with the right foot snap. He missed one earlier in the quarter, but he guides this one home for his second of the afternoon. Goal for goal in this third quarter. It's Geelong 9-6-60, Richmond 8-4-52. 10 minutes played in this third term. Your experts Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, Mark O'Connor stands at 191 centimetres tall to Shea Bolton 175, and he was able to take it at the height where Mark O'Connor couldn't spoil Berkey. His vertical leap, Shea Bolton, is just extraordinary. He's able to launch himself at the ball, but certainly he wanted to get the goal out of the way quicker than normal, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's O'Connor just not knowing the opponent that he's playing on, because Bolton can leap if you let him run and jump at it. So what you've got to do is you've got to just touch body, like you were talking about before earlier, John. Don't let him run and jump freely at it, because he's too good a player. He'll take a mark and kick a goal on you every single time.
Cats by 8. It's living up to the hype. Blitzavs wins it down straight to Dustin Martin. Bangs it up to the attacking 50 for the Tigers. Offhands, it spills to Tui. Uses Kolajasny, but had nowhere to go. Did a full 360 and had 3 Tigers around him. Ball knocked away to the boundary line. Ross on hands and knees. Gives it off to Edwards. Couldn't get it to Graham. Atkins can swoop. Kick down the line. Hits Stengel behind centre wing on the southern side.
They're really good at that, Geelong, just rewarding that short little 25-metre kick, 20-metre kick, and they hit lace out almost every time.
2 for the evening so far. Tyson Stengel pops it short to Duncan. He's been lively as well. Disposal 18 coming up. He'll head up to centre wing. Finds Kolajasny.
So they've had 3 possessions of just laying the ball out in front here, just only 20. They've probably gone all the 35 metres.
Kolajasny loads up and kicks as far as he can towards half forward. Henry in front position, fisted away from him. Rioli, his hand pass going nowhere. It's picked up by Soldo though. His hand pass finds Graham to Ralph Smith, who releases Rioli by hand, who gives it to Morris Rioli. Dan to Morris, has a bounce. 70 metres out, delivers to Lynch in the pocket through his fingertips. Over the back is Stewart on the last line of defence for the Cats. He chips looking for O'Connor, just just marked in time with Bolton bearing down.
That's Morris Rioli. Again, you'll learn from that, Berkey. His first 4 steps was a bounce of the football where Lynch already had his opponent beaten, so his eyes were down. Just lift your eyes when you're going forward.
O'Connor heads up towards right half back, but it's sport over the boundary line. He tossed back into play on the members' side.
Free kick.
Free kick coming back to Menegola.
The out-of-zone umpire saw something that the guy 5 metres away didn't.
That won't help the Tigers fans who are already frustrated by the free kick count. The jeers for Tom Stewart as well, if you're just joining us. High bump on Dion Prestia in the first quarter, concussed him. He's subbed out of the game and reported. Down the line goes Menegola, hits up Blitzabs, not paid the mark as he hit the deck. Ball trickles out, head over the footy. McIntosh spin through traffic, a 1-2 with Ross and he's away. Races across the boundary line, 2 bounces, centres his kick inside the 50 for the Tigers. Rewalt flies but loses it in the air. At the back, O'Connor can mop it up for the Cats. Had time to think about his exit and heads back down the line. Dangerous kick to Menegola, who did well up against McIntosh. Takes the mark right half back. Cats by 8. Awful kick inside on the 45. Graham was waiting, cut it off, hands it to Baker at centre half forward, hands it now off to Ross. He looks to the right forward pocket and spots Bolton all alone. Thought about playing on as well, but he'll go back on his mark this time. Shea Bolton's looking for 3, and he's been the catalyst of this Richmond resurgence.
Yeah, good run off the half-back line by Rioli then. The ball intercepted in the middle of the ground, and as soon as that happens, he just takes off and runs, and it's such an important player for them.
So Shea Bolton, disposal number 12, leans back on the kick and makes it goal number 3. And he loves it at the G. 2-point game. We've got an epic. And it's great to have you with us for it on Grandstand AFL. Your experts, Nathan Burt, Chris Johnson, 2-point game. 9-6-60 plays 9-4-58, 15 minutes played in the third.
Well, take a bow, Jack Ross. I thought that kick, and it was, I guess, a player of that sort of level that's only played 38 games can sometimes think goal and waste the opportunity of going forward. He was able to measure that kick. He had someone short, but he's seen over the back that there was a plenty of space there for Bolton to run onto, and it was just that perfect way to kick. A lot of players get in that situation, Berkey, and they want to dart it, they want to get it there quickly. He just waited it and let Bolton just run into it nicely. He's certainly a player that's going to be around this football club for a long time, Jack Ross.
The Tigers have come alive at the G. They were 35 points down in the second quarter, and now they're within a kick. As Geelong, from the middle, Stengel does a U-turn, kicks blindly inside forward 50. Henry got fingertips to it. Good work by Tarrant. And the ball eventually spills over the boundary line for a throw-in 20 metres around from goal. Geelong by 2.
Jono, thoughts on Jack Henry in the forward line? He's looked really good up there.
Yeah, he was very good in the first quarter and different times in the second, but he's sort of gone a little bit quiet this quarter, I would have thought, but needs to give a little bit more. Could almost put him back as well to steady things back there.
Tossed into the Cats attacking 50. Soldo slaps it out of the paint. Spills down towards Judson Clark. Can't gather against Tui. Tackled by McIntosh. Doesn't get a handball away. Umpire lets it go. Now Holmes is stripped of it and the Tigers can race off. Ross with a 1-2. Kicks it through the southern side. Lynch trying to beat DeConing. Couldn't. Knocked to ground but gathers. Handball smothered over the boundary line, out on the full. Fortunately, they're facing us the wrong way, but it must have come off DeConing's boot.
Yeah, he handballed it straight into his boot, so it was quite clever.
So Lynch can move the footy up towards the attacking 50 for the Tigers. Rewalt gets a sit, can't claim it. Now spills down to Buse. He's wrapped up by Jack. Ball isn't going anywhere. It'll be tossed up on the paint of attacking 50. The Tigers with 4 of the last 5 goals. It's a 2-point game at the G.
So Soldo caught one high. The umpire eventually did spot it. Yes. Just copped the palm of the hand across the face. And he's quick to dish it off to Dan Rioli, who sends a long one towards the goal face. It's marked on the line. Lynch has got it.
You're right, Jess. That's just experience there again. And look, probably he's got about, probably 8 pre-seasons or 8 seasons in the gym, more than DeConing. Lynch, so just used his body, used his strength, got him out of the way.
He's missed.
Oh, and Lynch, from a tight angle on the goal line, has missed across the face for a minus score. 1 point the difference here at the MCG. The Cats in front.
Cats looking a little bit shaky. Like Tommy Lynch should never have been allowed to go one-on-one against his opponent virtually in the goal square with another 5 Cats standing around watching.
Geelong have led all game and now they're under pressure. Smith exits defensive 50. Nice kick to Cameron. Game 200. Has 2 goals already. Handball over the top. Back to Smith, who kept running. The 3-time premiership Hawk up to left half forward. Myers uses the body to get rid of Gibcus but couldn't gather. Henry could, but he's spun in the tackle. Dumped on the pain of attacking 50 for the Cats. Umpire says I'll ball it up.
The other thing with Jack Henry that you might look at doing, Aaron, is probably putting him back on or back in the defence on Bolton, because he can shut down a smaller type like that.
To me, that's holding the ball. Should have been Dylan Grimes' free kick.
Stengel wins the clearance, just pokes the kick into the pocket. Smith bounced off his chest. It spills to Edwards of the Tigers. His hand pass doesn't hit its intended target. Coming through is Tui like a steam train. Gives off the hands to Myers and he is missed.
That hold the ball, Berkey?
No. If you're still moving forward, busting through. Look, he's got rid of one. He ran over him like he wasn't there.
2-point game once again. Cats still lead. They've led all game. They're currently approaching time on in the third. As Ralph Smith will play on, race through the right back pocket, kick down the southern side, straight to Tom Stewart, who beats Relock and goes. Nice kick flat to Stengel on the chest. He looks inside 50. Henry's leading out, couldn't claim it up against Tarrant, but he's paid the free kick for a hold.
He dropped it first, I think.
Jack Henry was taken out of the contest over the shoulder as well, so take your pick for the free kick. Either way, the Cats will get a shot. 45 out, slight angle to the right.
Just a little bit overzealous, but not right in it.
That's not a free kick for mine.
No, defenders have got to be allowed to do that. It's far too weighted.
That's how we earn our money, Berkey.
Exactly. His first goal of the season in the opening quarter. Now could make it 2. On the pain of 50, loads up on the right. It's errant, short and wide. Minus score on the left-hand side. 9-8-62 the Cats. Richmond 9-5-59. 20 minutes into the third. And Richmond race away.
Broad with the kick in. Kicks towards Lynch on the wing, who had to beat 2 and did so. A bullet pass down the line. Falls into the path of Bolton. He can't go with it, and that's a free kick for High. Pickett just a little bit errant there and gives away the free kick to Buse. He'll take it between wing and half back for Geelong. They lead by 3 points as we tick into time on of the third. Jess Webster and Aaron Bryan calling the action. Bryan's rather calling the action. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson with Karen Peterson on the boundary.
So the Cats just looking to move the ball on the members' side. Buse didn't know really where to go to. In the end, just kicks up towards centre half back. Didn't even carry that far.
Tigers are going man on man right now. They're trying to make sure that they turn it over somewhere.
Kolajasny had too much time to think and turned it straight over to Ralph Smith, who can race to 40 and finish. The Tigers have the lead at the G. A costly error from Jake Kolajasny. Had the footy for 20 seconds, could have gone anywhere, and turned it straight over. And the 20-year-old kid comes in and finishes brilliantly. 3-point lead to the Tigers, the first time this game. And cheer the MCG erupted for it. 10-5-65, Geelong 9-8-62, 21 and a half played in the third. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL.
Well, Hugo's dad, Sean, who I played with at the Saints, he'd be loving that one. He'd be pumped up in the grandstand. We used to call his dad Thor because he had the big muscles and he had the big mullet. Young fella's got the mullet, hasn't quite got the muscles yet, but he keeps doing stuff like that out in the footy field, and he's going to have a long career, a lot of time to develop those muscles like his old man.
A late change into the 22 for the Tigers, and he's put them in front as here goes the Tigers again. Baker from the middle kicks the Tigers inside 50. De Koning at the back, gathers and gives it off to Buse. With Morris Rioli applying the pressure, Buse kicked down the line, finds Myers, who marks just inside the field of play. True centre wing position on the southern side. Richmond lead by 3 points, 22 played, third term.
Myers goes bang, heads all the way up to left half forward. Hawkins in front position, should have taken it, didn't. Knocked it down to his skipper Selwood in the end. Spun in the tackle but got a handball away. Myers kept running and gathered it back. Gives it out wide. Kick around the body is not clean. And out on the full. Tom Atkins just didn't really get enough space to think about the kick. The pressure was immense from the Tigers. And now Dylan Grimes has it at right half back on the southern side.
Well, it's been this quarter. That's where the Tigers have actually got himself back in the game. He's around the pressure.
Oh no, Grimes has kicked that out of bounds on the full. And free kick going to Geelong. Cam Guthrie will claim it. He's just forward of the wing.
Well, Dylan's been good. He'd like that kick back, but he hasn't had a lot of the football. He normally gets. He started off the first quarter really, really well, but his defensive work has been outstanding.
So Cam Guthrie, plenty of numbers up ahead, so he decides to chip short to Buse. Still 2 kicks from goal. Buse wheels around, opens up the angle and kicks towards the top of the square. Cameron's in there. No free kick paid. The ball ricochets to Duncan. His hand pass looking for Zach Guthrie. He gives it to Stanley from the top of the square. Delivers inside 50. It's fisted away from Menengola. Myers tries to tap it into the path of Atkins, but he's brought to ground, dispossessed by Grimes, holding the ball.
That swarming defence from the Tigers, we didn't see that in the first quarter and a half. It's back now.
On the text line, Bill says the Cats have burnt themselves in this game. A loss could affect their season. Well, it will leave them a game out of the top 4. They have the chance to move into the top 2 tonight. Ralph Smith heads up the members' wing for the Tigers. In front position, Soldo couldn't claim it. Front square was Pickett. He overran the footy. Lynch lost it as well. O'Connor gives it off with a 1-2 to De Koning. He caught a late bump as well from Nankervis, and it's coming back. Not as heavy, obviously, as the Stuart Prestia bump, but maybe something that might be looked at as the shoulder collided with Sam De Koning's head. Free kick to the Cats youngster. What do you reckon on the replay, Jono?
Wasn't really looking, mate. I was looking at the stats.
So the replay is Shane Bolton's goal, so I'm not sure what the MCG ground staff are doing, but I'll come back to you when it pops up. Meanwhile, De Koning has gone down the line on the members' wing. True centre wing finds Isaac Smith. Opens the angle, races around and heads inside 50 for the Cats. Big fly, front position, Rioli. That's Dan. He's been outstanding tonight. This will be disposal 19 as he looks to swish across defensive 50.
Kicks backwards to Tarrant, who gives it to Short, and he kicks to McIntosh at right half back. McIntosh chips inboard to Dan Rioli. He kept running, still at half back, the Tigers. They lead by 3 points. 25 minutes played in this third term. It's Rioli again, chips short and finds Broad, just defensive side of the wing. Wants to move it quickly this time. Skirts the edge of the boundary line. Kicks towards Rewald at centre half forward. Blitzars with the fist. The ball eventually trickles out of bounds for a throw in. 70 metres around from Geelong's goal.
5 goal to 1 quarter to the Tigers. Geelong led all game. Now Richmond up by 3. There's an 18-point margin at quarter time, 20 at the half. Now the boundary throw in to come. That right half forward for the Tigers. Stanley wins it down for the Cats. Straight in the path of Baker, though. Threw it on the boot into the right forward pocket. Rewatts in a one-on-one against Kolajasny. Brought to ground. De Koning was waiting. Handball over the top to Buse. Now Stewart rides the boundary line. And Guthrie in the end just walks it over. That's
smart.
Cam.
That's smart.
He had a path of Tigers awaiting him. And a boundary throw in to come. On the pain of attacking 50 for Richmond. 10-5-65 plays 9-8-62. 26 and a half played in this third term on Grandstand AFL.
5 goals to 1 the Tigers' way in this third quarter, and they've hit the lead for the first time. So from the boundary throw in, Cam Guthrie again just intelligently steps over the boundary line. We'll do it all again. This time we've edged to within 30 metres of Richmond's goal.
Stats are pretty much even this quarter, except for tackles, 16-7 in favour of the Tigers. To me, that's the real difference in the game from that first half.
Toss back in, punt road end. Richmond's attacking 50. Nankervis put it in the path of Rewald. He slapped it over his head, trying to gift it over the top to Baker. He's playing a bit in the midfield now with Dion Prestia out. He couldn't control it. Another boundary throw in to come. Still about 30 out from the Tigers' goal, right forward pocket. Let's see what they can do here. Another boundary throw in. Stanley will win it this time. Tumbled through Baker. He has to become the tackler on Cam Guthrie, trying to march through his Atkins, shrugged off Morris Rioli, but couldn't get the handball to Stewart. Another boundary throw in to come. Jess, hopefully you're the good luck charm. Let's see what happens here.
They've just got to get someone on the move here, the Tigers, from one side of the stoppage through the other, just on the fly.
Umpire spins the ball back into play. Nankervis in front position over Stanley. Martin gets a hand in there. Baker, Edwards could have made good connection with his boot. Last line of defence, Stewart picks it up and just hacks it out of the danger zone, but it might be coming back as Pickett takes the mark. Back with the fly to the ball. As Tigers fans want 50, as Blitzarves moved a little bit on the mark as Pickett, low ball inside 50. Morris Rioli flies. He couldn't come down with the mark. Buse, his hand pass is picked off. Short can't go with it. Cameron tried to go off the deck. Dan Rioli to Morris Rioli. Taps it to Graham. 40 metres out. Curls it around the corner. De Koning on the last line of defence. Saves the day for the Cats. Minor score. Geelong 9-8-62. Richmond 10-5-65.
Meanwhile, Liam Baker is down inside the attacking 50 off that marking contest. Just caught one, I think. As it comes back, he slid in and actually collected the knees of Jake Kolajasny, and he's been stuck on his knees ever since, really, just sitting on his haunches. He's finally made his way to his feet and will be escorted off the ground as play continues once again. Chess on the money as well. The behind was counted. 10-6-66, 4-point lead to the Tigers. 9-8-62, the Cats. And the applause as Liam Baker makes his way off the ground. Meanwhile, the exit from Geelong wasn't clean again, and once again, Marlon Pickett is there.
Going back with the flight once again, courage, knowing that there's a pack coming, able to put his mitts up.
One of 4 elite players ranked by Champion Data. He races around Henry, sold some candy, heads into the 50. Sport by Edwards, gathered at the back. Handball was smothered by Zach Guthrie, who runs into Morris Rioli. The kid stood his ground and forces a ball up. 25 out, slight angle to the left, still inside Richmond's attacking 50. The Cats trying to hold the line here.
Nankervis palms it down, looking for Martin, but it's sharked by Duncan. His kick, though, off the side of the boot, marked again by Pickett. This time 51 metres out from goal against the boundary.
He's got to do something better this time with how he puts it in there.
Oh, and he dances around close on the mark this time. Low ball inside 50, looking for Morris Rioli. He couldn't complete the mark. Cam Guthrie's kick is smothered. It falls into the path of Dusty, and you don't want the ball in his hands if you're a Cats fan. This time, though, his shot goes across the face of goal for a minor score. Richmond are doing it by points at the moment. They lead it by 5.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on me. Or was it the other way around? But either way, Marlon Pickett selling candy outside 50. Geelong head out the southern side. Contest awaits. Blitzavs brought it down, then does the crumbing. Uses Kolajasny. Nice little 1-2. Blitzavs kicks around the body for the Cats. He's trying to get it up to left half forward where it hasn't been for most of this quarter, and Tarrant is sitting underneath it. Beats Tom Hawkins. And that'll be the last possession of the third term. It's a Cats home game, but you can hear the raucous applause from the Richmond fans in attendance at the G. They trailed all game, and then a 5-goal-to-1 third term has put them up by 5 heading into the final term. A thrilling finish coming up very shortly. The goal scorers for the Cats, 2 to Cameron and Stengel, singles to Tui, Myers, Henry, Smith and Blitzavs. For Richmond, 3 to Shea Bolton, 2 to Tom Lynch, singles to Martin, Baker, Edwards, Ralph Smith and Rioli. What a game we've got on our hands to continue round 15 with the Swans and St Kilda still to come tonight at the SCG. On ABC Radio and Sport Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Sport now has its very own newsletter, and we'd be pumped to have you on board.
Woohoo! The ABC of Sport will provide a wrap of all the best stuff that's happening in sport every week.
Simply go to abc.net.au/connect
and get ready for a sport hit in your inbox every Friday.
Get on board with the ABC of Sport newsletter
for content that makes you think
or allows you not to.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Jewett, he might have coughed it up to Edwards. 10 metres out, dribbles it home for a goal. Fantastic forward pressure by Richmond to get the opening goal of the second half.
So Riot will have to move it on. Steps off his line into the right forward pocket. Lynch has got space on De Koning. Takes the uncontested mark. Tight angle right forward pocket. Comes in, crosses the paint of 50. The tightest of angles, but a magnificent finish. Richmond are coming at the G. Milestone was waiting. Under a bit of pressure, he clears defensive 50, but only as far as Tui. Great chase down tackle to affect the kick. And now Zach Tui has it. He's going to heave it from 55. It's carrying all the way home. Salutes the crowd.
Releases Milestone by hand. It's a high kick inside 50. Bolted in front position. And he wants to play on quickly again with the right foot snap. He missed one earlier in the quarter, but he guides this one home for his second of the afternoon.
College hasn't had too much time to think and turned it straight over to Ralph Smith, who can race to 40 and finish. The Tigers have the lead at the G.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
A grandstand finish coming up on ABC Sport. Geelong looked lively for the majority of this contest, but fell asleep in the third. Richmond have fired the shot and they're up by 5 points heading into the final term. 10-7-67 to 9-8-62. Earlier today, Carlton defeating Fremantle by 31 points at the Docklands. And still to come on Grandstand AFL, the Swans and the Saints at the SCG, both coming off really embarrassing losses and hoping to press their case for a top 8 finish. To preview it all, Quentin Hull is standing by. Q.
It's the continuation of a high-stakes Saturday, isn't it, Aaron? A gorgeous night in the Harbour City, and Driver Avenue outside of the SCG is a sea of rainbow colour for the annual Pride game with, as you mentioned, the Swans and the Saints doing battle. As the round began, they were in 7th and 8th positions, both with win-loss records of 8 and 5. The Swans beaten by Port off the bye last week. St Kilda have lost 2 games since having their mid-season break up at the Gabba against the Lions and embarrassingly to the Bombers at Docklands last week. And some drama for the Swans yesterday, changes from the Thursday teams with news coming through that Harry Cunningham and Justin McInerney have both entered COVID protocols and won't be playing for the Swans tonight. So Dylan Stevens and Robbie Fox, who were named in the emergencies, they are into the team. Louis Taylor, the former Rising Star winner, one of the added emergencies, he's going to be the Medi-sub for the Swans. The Swans team, which among the inclusions sees Tom Hickey return in the ruck tonight. Speaking of ruckman, Paddy Ryder not playing for the Saints. He's rested tonight, but 2-time best and fairest winner Jack Steele is among the ins after missing a month through a shoulder injury. It's a gorgeous night. As mentioned, both teams inside the 8 as the round began, and you'd think the loser of tonight won't be inside the top 8 once we progress beyond this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait for it, Q. The Swans and the Saints at the SCG coming up next on Grandstand AFL. Quentin Hull, Daniel Garb, Jason Saddington, Joel Patfull and Sophie Clappen for that one. Big round of footy, so many even matchups. Tomorrow, North Adelaide, Collingwood, GWS and Port Adelaide and the Gold Coast Suns. Don't forget Sunday AFL with Corbin Middlemass starting at midday Australian Eastern Standard Time. Here at the MCG though, unpredictable finish between Geelong and Richmond. It's the Tigers by 5 points. Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster, Nathan Burt, Chris Johnson with you. Who wins it and why, Jono?
Yeah, look, I think at the moment, Floston, Rioli, Ross and Bolton, they're the game winners at the moment. They're the ones, the reason why the Tigers have gotten back in this. Bolton's obviously been good up forward line, been able to kick a couple of goals. Could have hit maybe 4 that quarter. Ross in the middle of the ground has been outstanding. His contested ball ability at the moment, having 9 contested ball at the moment over his 18 possessions, so half of them are contested. He's really lifted his game. Daniel Rye, his run off half back has been enormous, and Floston's been solid all 4 quarters. But I think for the Cats to get over at the moment, they look a bit stale, Berkey. They need a match winner somewhere. Is it Captain Joel Selwood, or is it a Jed Buse, or is it a Jeremy Cameron, or could it be Hawkins kicking a bag of goals in this last quarter?
Yeah, they need one of them to get off the chain. Either Cameron, who's got a lot of the ball up around the middle, needs to get forward a little bit more. Tommy Hawkins needs to get off the chain, but to me, it was the Tigers tackling that made the difference in that quarter. Can they keep that up?
Strap yourselves in. 5-point lead to Richmond over the Cats. Nankervis wins it down, looking for Short. Went through him. Ross puts his head over the footy. Duncan's all over his back. Umpire circles, says, give it to me. We'll try again closer to the members' wing.
Isaac Smith's gone forward as well, guys. Now coming up to the ball, so leaving Floston as the spare.
Nankervis takes it out of the ruck. Quick kick around the body. Hits Rewalt just behind centre half forward. Has plenty of players surging forward for him. He bangs it up towards the top of the goal square. Lynch can get a run. Clears him at the back. Stewart is waiting once again. His positioning is elite, but his kicking is not. Shanked it off towards Vlostone, who's sliding in, knocked it back to Jack Henry. The Cats now through Guthrie to Menegola. He's caught in a couple of tackles, ducked into it as well. So the umpire will say ball up on the pain of attacking 50. Right half forward for the Tigers, kicking to the city end.
That's been the difference right there. Richmond have been able to nail their tackles.
Nankervis against Blitzarves. And it spills the way of Menegola, who gives it back to Blitzarves from left half back. A high ball down the wing to a pack. Oh, getting fingertips to it is Grimes. Did well to win the footy. Hand passes to McIntosh. His hand pass not so great. Looking for short, but it goes over the boundary line for a throw in. Just defensive side of the wing. It is Richmond by 5 points. Jess Webster and Aaron Bryans calling the action. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnston, your experts, with Karen Peterson on the boundary.
We'll get Karen to keep an eye on Dylan Grimes, who got crunched in that pack and came off very gingerly.
Dion Prestia subbed out in the opening quarter as well after a high bump from Tom Stewart. Toss back in, Nankervis wins it down. The Cats had numbers, but Guthrie lost it at his feet. Finally mops it up, gives it back to Stewart. Bangs it up to left half forward. Vlostone gets a run, spoiled away by Stengel, who did very well to keep chasing. Gathers, kicks around the body. Skies it up to left half forward. It sits up. McIntosh sitting underneath it. Slapped it down to Vlostone for the Tigers, who releases short. He can go. Races across the members' wing. Heads towards Bolton in a one-on-one with O'Connor. Beats both of them. Tumbles towards the right forward pocket. Bolton keeps it in, but he's run down by Buse, who did very well. And he's carried over the boundary line in the process. It'll be tossed back into play. Right forward pocket for the Tigers. Karen Peterson downstairs.
Dylan Grimes, as Berkey mentioned, come to the bench. I think he's just winded. Docs and physios have left him alone. He looks like he's just catching his breath.
So ball in, forward 50 for the Tigers. Bolton overran it. Coming through was Baker, but he's run down by Atkins. That is holding the ball. Great defensive work there by Atkins, who wins himself a free kick. So still inside defensive 50. Flares it out wide to Menegola.
Underrated gem in the midfield is Tom Atkins, the 26-year-old, having a career best season. Lively tonight as well. Down the line go the Cats. Menegola's kick clears the pack. Vlostone waiting at the back against Stengel. Did well to keep it in play and is caught high by Stanley. Not much the big ruckman can do when he's trying to tackle a shorter opponent. Richmond can go now. Vlostone over the top to Ross. Takes a bounce through left half forward. Heads to Lynch and the pack nearly claimed it on the chest up against De Koning. Tigers fans wanted a free. They won't get it. But it comes out anyway to Clark, who can snap from 15. The relentless pressure just kept coming. And Judson Clark converts to put the Tigers up by 11 points at the G. 11-7-73. Geelong 9-8-62. 3.5 played in the final quarter on Grandstand AFL.
Give credit there to Jack Rewald, and laid a really, really good tackle. Potentially could have got the free kick for holding the ball himself, but it spilled to Clark, who snapped from 15 metres out. And what we didn't see from the Tigers in the first half was those repeat entries. They weren't winning the ball around the middle of the ground and sending it back in. They were allowing Geelong to go from one end to the other. Now you've got Vlostone and these guys winning the ball in the middle, pushing it back in, and the more the ball goes inside forward 50, the more dangerous the Tigers look.
Well, they've been able to go +2 in the inside forward 50s now, Berkey. They'll back behind there a little bit, midway through the game.
Oh, brilliant tap from Nankervis, straight down the throat of Baker, who kicks it inside 50, falls at the feet of Lynch. Coming through De Koning, just gets boot to ball only as far as Baker. He hand passes out wide to Pickett from left half forward, a centering ball into the corridor, bounces off the chest of Menegola, ball alive inside 50 for the Tigers. Duncan copped one high, and the Cats fans can breathe a sigh of relief.
They've got nowhere to go from here, though. All they can do is chip it out into the pocket. The Tigers have set up really well in front of the ball, and the Cats have stopped moving.
Duncan didn't know what to do, as you said, Berkey, so he has to play on. Races through the right back pocket, now heads to the southern side where they are outnumbered, and Pickett can come across in front of the pack and claim the mark.
Yeah, that quick ball movement we saw from the Cats has just evaporated.
Beautiful central kick to short. He marks uncontested centre half forward. We know he can go long if he wants to. He's backed up on the mark. Now plays on. Bangs it on the boot off a couple of steps. Sits up left and on the goal line. It's marked by Lynch. Again in the pack. He's made something out of nothing. Wrenched it away from Rewalt. And we'll have the tight angle to work with in the left forward pocket.
The fact there was no Geelong player coming from behind in that scenario to punch the ball just shows that they're just rattled at the moment. Really poor defensive setup.
Tom Lynch on a straight line angle, runs around and snaps through. Brings the Tigers fans to their feet. They're running away with it. They trailed by 35 points. And now they lead by 17. 12-7-79. Geelong 9-8-62. 6 played in the fourth. Tigers by 3 goals on Grandstand AFL.
Well, it comes back to Marlon Pickett's intercept mark, squaring the ball up to Jaden Short, who knew that he could get the distance if he really got onto it. Didn't quite get onto it, but I agree with you, Berkey. 3 defenders going up there, not one at the back, knowing that it's going to be a long shot, to be able to go third up and just kill that ball. There's nothing worse than a forward line player or a key forward marking the ball on the goal line and then putting it through for a 6-pointer.
Tigers have kicked 10 of the last 12 since they trailed by 35 points in the second term. Again, they win it out of the middle through Baker. Kicks into the path of McIntosh. Gathers. Hand passes to Morris Rioli. Short kick towards half forward. Nankervis just decides to kick off the deck. De Koning there in the last line of defence for the Cats. Hand passes to Tui, who gives it to Menengola. Nice exit kick outside defensive 50. Finds Cam Guthrie at left half back.
Kicks on the 45. It's sat up dangerously for Cameron, but just got there under pressure from Ralph Smith. And he's released close now through the members' wing. Hands it inside to Selwood. Off to Henry. Myers now flat kick to Stengel. Was it 15? Umpire says yes. 40 out from goal, straight in front. Tyson Stengel can stem the tide against his former club. He'll go back and take the set shot.
First time in a little while that we've seen the Cats be able to use the ball smartly, choose the right decisions coming through the wing here, then back inside the corridor. I think what we've seen them just blaze away, just under pressure by the Tigers, but they're just smart heads on them all.
3 goals last week against West Coast. Tyson Stengel could be the difference maker tonight. Crosses the paint of 50 from 45, straight as an arrow. Geelong finally answer back. 11-point game at the MCG, and Tyson Stengel has 3. 12-7-79 Richmond. Geelong 10-8-68. 8 minutes played in the final term. Aaron Bryans, Jess Webster, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
It's one of the first times, probably since half-time really, they've had that overlap run through the middle. They've been able to hit a short target and then have people running past for a handball to get the ball inside 50 really, really quickly. We saw that in that first quarter and a half, but then it's died off for a quarter and a half. If they're going to get themselves back into this game and win this game, that's the sort of play that they need to actually keep doing, or at least attempting over and over and over again, because the slow stop-start stuff, that's playing into Richmond's hands.
Stengel's third goal of the evening stops a run of 5 in a row from the Tigers as Stanley wins the tap in the middle, straight down to Cameron, who's playing in the centre. He's stripped of it, falls the way of Baker of the Tigers. He gives it to Nankervis, who gives it back to Baker, runs himself in a bit of a trouble, has to hand pass defensively to Nankervis. His short kick, just 15, finds Pickett, 2 kicks from home. He gets around Stengel on the mark, gives it to Nankervis. Long kick to the top of the square. It's off hands. Menengola in a bit of trouble. Great hands, though, to find Zach Guthrie close against the boundary line. Kicks outside defensive 50. Stanley brings it down to Close, who hand passes to Stewart. And that is a fantastic kick into the middle, who finds Blitzarves inside the centre square. Hand passes to Cam Guthrie, and the Cats are away.
They're surging through the corridor. Guthrie puts it in front of Stengel, who should have taken the mark. Wasted a precious couple of seconds, but still spots Henry.
Oh, free kick. Going back to
against Hawkins.
Yes, hanging on. Didn't allow Grimes to run third in to spoil that ball. correct decision.
Jack Henry had it 15 out straight in front. They needed that goal.
Well, he had multiple options there as well. He had actually Smith in the middle of the corridor at the same time.
So the Tigers through short, exits defensive 50 to Broad. He's at left half back. Career best season for him as well in a contract year. Down the line he uses Graham and then gets it back. Races along the boundary line, unpressured and kicks it straight into Tui in front of him. Wrapped up in the tackle. The Cats now through Stanley. Smith dacked. Got a handball away though. Comes back to him on the ground. He still hasn't pulled his pants up. Thankfully the ball's carried over the line to give him some time to clean up. Boundary throw in to come. True centre wing, southern side. 11-point lead to the Tigers. Cracking game on Grandstand AFL.
Well done, Aaron. That was good. There was a lot of errors there.
Umpire tosses the ball back into play. Nankervis takes it straight out of the ruck and gives it to Short, who tumbles a kick inside 50. Kolajasny brings it to ground. De Koning at the fall of the ball is brought to ground by Rewalt. Umpire says, I'll have it ball up 55 metres out from goal. Richmond lead by 11. They're in their attacking half of the ground as Graham gets boot to ball. It tumbles towards the boundary line. The Cats want deliberate and they get it.
It was an accident.
He was swung as he tackled Graham, got boot to ball, it went over the boundary line and Jeremy Cameron takes the free kick for Geelong.
Seen him a lot across half back, Jeremy Cameron, this game, even though he's got 2 to his name. Down the line, the kick is accurate. Spots Holmes. The youngster down the line of Cam Guthrie, one of the veterans. Still just behind centre wing, southern side. Looks inside. Spots Isaac Smith. Marks uncontested and can go. Heads to half forward. Spots Blitzavs. Takes the chest mark at half forward. Blitzavs now into the 50. Had the run of O'Connor, but it was too long. Put it in front of Stengel instead. He slides in but can't gather. O'Connor comes with the assist. Scoops it up. Gives it to Close. Races to 10. Snaps on the right. Geelong are alive. 5-point game at the G. Richmond 12-7-79. The Cats 11-8-74. Brad Close on the board. 12 played in the fourth on Grandstand AFL.
Well, they've gone away from playing man-on-man football at the moment, the Tigers. That's what's got them back in this game, is from probably halfway or midway through the third term, they just went man-on-man and backed themselves. And now when Geelong, the last couple of occasions when they've got the ball and streamed forward, is that they've all just been sagging off and almost zoning off at different stages through each part of the oval or the ground. And this is what's been able to free up the Geelong Footy Club, and they're very good users of the ball. And look, that was just a comedy of errors as well. Bolton got in there. He probably needed to go at the ball rather than go with the player.
Back in the middle, Soldo against Blitzarves. Cam Guthrie rose, driven into the turf, holding the ball. Graham with the great tackle and wins the footy. As there's a bit of push and shove against play, the umpire says he's going to reverse it. Nope. Is it? No, just telling everyone to calm down. So Graham with the ball in hand inside the centre square, kicks long to the top of the square. Rewalt!
No, free kick.
Oh no, he's going to be devastated.
Free kick to the Cats.
Against who, Berkey?
Oh,
is that against
no.
Lynch?
So Rewalt with the fly. Lynch gave away the free kick. De Koning with the footy in hand on the last line of defence.
Listen to the Tigers fans erupt as well. De Koning clears defensive 50 to a pack. Guthrie lost it in the air. Dan Rioli scooped it out, got it to Graham. Shoveled a handball back to Tarrant on the logo. Centre wing. Just slammed it on the boot. Clumsy and a clanger. Straight to Tom Stewart. He plays on for the Cats. Back to where it came from. Centre wing members side. Gibcus can spoil. Straight to Myers though. Flicks a handball out to Hawkins. At half forward he centres his kick. Take a pick from the options. He finds Stengel. Could go over the top. Cameron's alone in the goal square. Gives it to him. And it is milestone game. The Cats have the lead through Jeremy Cameron. Game 200, he's got 3. Geelong have the lead by 1. 12-8-80, Richmond 12-7-79. Plenty to play on Grandstand AFL.
Well, there's room to take risks in this game. And that's what Geelong has started to do in this last 15 minutes, taking some risks, getting the ball more through the corridor, getting it quickly, running in numbers ahead of the footy, and it's paying off for them. And For the Tiger supporters who are wondering whether it was a free kick against Lynch, it was. He actually grabbed De Koning's jumper and sort of slung him around and allowed Riewoldt to take the big specky. So good call by the umpire there. But there's one team out there that's taking risks and want to win this game, and the other team's trying to save it. And my money's on the team who want to win.
And at the moment, what the Cats are doing really well in the middle of the ground, they're getting a couple of players running to the back of the contest who are getting themselves freed up.
Unbelievable contest at the G. Still plenty of footy to play as Blitzarves wins the clearance for the Cats, kicks towards half forward. Close has work to do against two Tigers. His hand pass looking for Henry. And the ball eventually spills over the boundary line for a throw in 70 metres around from the Cats' goal. They lead by a point. Jess Webster and Aaron Bryans calling the action. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson, your experts, but Karen Peterson on the boundary.
Toss back in, Soldo against Blitzarves, neither got a clean tap, bounce through short, Atkins can gather for the Cats, puts it inside 50 with an awful kick, too flat for Myers, put his head over the footy, Rioli may have copped him, no free kick, ball up to come, 40 out, tight angle to the left. Geelong with the last 3 goals. Inside attacking 50 again. Hawkins against Soldo. He slams it on the fist out of defensive 50. Straight to Blitzarves. Off his step on the paint. He hits the left-hand goalpost. That would have been special. 12-9-81. 2-point lead to the Cats. Richmond 12-7-79. 10 to play in the final quarter.
Tense moments here at the MCG as Daniel Rioli brings the ball back in for Richmond and finds Vlostone in the right back pocket. Long kick down the line, looking for Lynch. Nankervis in there as well. Morris Rioli taps it back to Nankervis, who hacks a kick down the line. Stewart playing in front of Riewoldt. Traps it really well, then gathers the footy. Hand passes to De Koning, who releases Buse by hand, and short pass finds Close at left half forward. Brilliant work by the Cats. No one stands the mark, so Close can run about 5 metres forward. Kicks to a dangerous position at the top of the square. Cameron's there. Can't complete the mark. The ball spills to ground. McIntosh collects, gives it to Short, who finds Clark at left half back.
Takes a couple of bounces through the southern wing. There's no pressure on the kid. And his kick isn't great on the 45. It's set up too long for McIntosh. Atkins comes across, knocks it down to Tui on the logo, pierces it down the line, finds Zach Guthrie. Too far out to score at right half forward. So he'll look further wide, closer to the boundary line. Here's Duncan. Geelong.
You've got Nankervis sitting in a big hole there, and one of the Geelong players just needs to go and man him up, put a bit of pressure on him.
So the Cats playing it safe. Duncan again will go short, closer towards the arc, but still too far out to score to Zach Guthrie.
They just need to go back to man-on-man, Richard. They've just gone away from that, and it's just made them look very ordinary in the last 10 minutes.
Zach Guthrie, 2 kicks from goal. Kicks into a crowded forward 50, and that man, as you said, Nankervis, just stands in the hole and takes the easy defensive mark. Swings it across the face of goal to Vlostone, who kicks out to the members' wing to Rioli, who dropped the mark he probably should have taken. Holmes applies the pressure. Tigers might still win the footy. Ross hand passes to Riewoldt, who has to get around Buse, swung to the ground, dispossessed, gone.
He's had a horror patch, Jack. He's made 3 mistakes in a row. He let Tom Stewart come forward and get the ball. He dropped the mark and then got caught holding the ball. 3 in a row, Jack. You just need to look a bit more lively, Jack. You're just taking it a bit too easy.
Buse plays on and races away from Riewoldt into the 50 for the Cats. Nankervis in the pack, couldn't claim it. Guthrie tried to barge through. Gibcus lost it as well. Now Henry puts his head over the footy and is wrapped up. 15 out from goal for the Cats. Left forward pocket. They're up by 2. Plenty of time to play in the 4th. In the ruck contest, Hawkins tried to slap it behind his head. Did well to get into the path of Close. And Tarrant, his tackle is not great. Free kick to Brad Close for a high.
Close got that because he was the one at the stoppage. He was on the move. He was running. He looked like he wanted the footy.
So Brad Close, who's part of this resurgence in the final term, has a chance to kick his second on the tightest of angles. He'll start outside the field of play in the left forward pocket. Players ready to surge. He opens the angle, snaps. It's going across the face. The fans think it's home. The goal umpire doesn't. Minus score on the right-hand side for the Cats, left-hand side for the goal umpire. 3-point game for Geelong, 12-10-82. Richmond 12-7-79.
Ralph Smith goes for a run and then kicks out to the outer side. Over the back, Lynch takes the mark. Hand passes inboard to Ross. He dribbles a kick along the ground. It's picked off by Atkins, who gives it to Menangola. His short kick finds Smith on the logo on the outer side.
Needed composure there from Lynch. He took the mark and then he looked up and there was Morris Rioli against 4 Cats.
Smith called to play on, so he hacks it inside forward 50, but again standing in the hole is Nankervis.
What a round of footy. The Swans and the Saints to come next on Grandstand AFL. Nankervis hits Ross, who looks wide on the southern wing. McIntosh can get a run through the logo. He'll centre his kick up to Rioli, closer to the square. Mark's uncontested. Down the line he goes, looking for Martin. Duncan was standing right in front of him and cuts it off for the Cats.
They needed to fan that ball wide. They had an amount of players just lining up for the switch.
Finds Guthrie up before, just behind right half forward. Short kick down the line. Was too short for Jack Henry. He did very well on his knees to pick it up. Gave it to Smith. Over the top to Zach Guthrie. Looks inside, lowered the eyes and spotted Menegola, who marks 40 from home, 45-degree angle to the right.
The problem with Nankervis just being back there filling the hole is that other Tigers players go, oh, we've got a player there, and they just go and fill another hole. But Menegola was smart. He's going to, Nankervis is not that nimble. He's going to be able to pick me up if I get 10 metres away from him, and that's what he did. Now he's got a shot for goal.
His second game back from a knee injury. Sam Menegola had 2 last week. This is an important one from 48. It carries across the face. Another minus score. They had a run of 3 goals, the Cats, now 3 behinds, and they lead by 4 with 5 to play.
Well, the other thing with that too, Berkey, is that you meet midfield pressure. So it's a wayward kick. It's a high and up under kick, so Nankervis can just sit himself under the ball and take the mark. If you've got no midfield pressure, there's no point having a ruckman sitting behind the play.
Bolton rises high in the wing, marks the Pickett kick. Hand passes to Dan Rioli, whose kick is partially smothered, has to go and follow up his work. Martin, he couldn't collect it. The Tigers still win it though. Ross gives it back to Dan Rioli, again ran out of room. Hand passes to no one. Atkins is in there, the umpire circles, ball up is called 70 metres out from the Tigers' goal at right half forward.
Dan Rioli's been good, he's had 25 possessions, but he's making tired mistakes now.
And he's hurt himself too behind play.
In the ruck contest, one down by Blitzarf, straight to Selwood, uses Atkins. They're under immense pressure, but it was too much as Pickett comes through and clotheslines Cam Guthrie. Free kick left half back, Members' side.
Another free kick from the Tigers, a sloppy tackle. Tarrant gave away one, Pickett's given away one, Rioli's made a couple of bad decisions because he's tired.
Well, Rioli's actually struggling to get back to Stingline now as well.
Cam Guthrie found Buse, kick down the line was straight to Nankervis, leading away from the pack. Richmond now can go again. Over the top to Ross. He's short of right half forward. Had a runner outside in Broad. Races towards the 50 from 60 out. Heads towards Lynch. He's outnumbered and beaten. It's knocked down over the boundary line. Can be tossed back into play in the right forward pocket. Right in front of the Ponsford stand. The Tigers at the city end, trailing by 4.
Well done by Tom Stewart there, because I think Lynch had De Koning beaten. He was in front of him, but Tom Stewart stood tall in front.
59,335 fans through the gates this afternoon at the MCG. Ball in inside the Tigers forward 50. They trail by 4 points. Nankervis in front position. Baker Roves. He's stripped of it, falls to Tui, hacks a kick, but it's intercepted by Ross, who marks 51 metres out from goal. Wants to pump it in long. Lynch has a couple to beat De Koning with the brilliant one-on-one contest. The rising star is again making his mark here on the big stage.
He's got a real case to win the award, Jess. What a first year of footy we're seeing from De Koning as he exits defensive 50 to the southern side. Early fly from Zach Guthrie, knocked down to Menegola. Clearing kick as far as Tarrant. He marks centre wing on the southern side for Richmond. Thought about going inside, eventually does. Spots Ross. He's been everywhere in this final quarter. Ross just caught behind centre wing. Doesn't know what to do, so he'll head up to left half forward. McIntosh had to run at it. Smith sat underneath it. Knocked down to Munn. This is where Dusty's at his best. Gives it to Nankervis. McIntosh around the body. The kick is flat. Bounces straight to De Koning. And Kolajasny will walk it over. No pressure at all. Umpire says minor score. So does the field umpire. Gee, that was a tough decision.
He wasn't under pressure then.
3-point lead to Geelong. It could have been worse. And they look to exit out to the members' side.
So long kick to the wing. But Pickett roves. He chips into the pocket. Morris Rioli's marked. He's got it. 35 metres out. 45-degree angle to the right. Morris Rioli with the chance to put Richmond back in front with a couple of minutes to play.
Well, third time lucky for Pickett. He'd been trying in the last quarter, trying to get it to Rioli a few times, and now he's finally found him.
The young 19-year-old from a family of superstars.
Did not move.
Ice in his veins, Morris Rioli. Richmond are back in front. 13-8-86, lead Geelong 12-11-83, 26 plate final term. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, Pickett's done an excellent role most of the day, just being that brick wall, playing on the wing, getting the ball coming out of his forward 50 and pushing it back in. Haven't really got a lot of reward for that effort. That time there was a little bit more composure, really just took his time, found a good target, and Rioli, that ball did not deviate 1 centimetre, straight over the umpire's hat.
Well, Bolton was there at the same time when the kick went in, and Menegola and Stewart both went to Bolton thinking he was the target, and Morris just sort of slipped out the back. But you're right, Berkey, that was the most straightest kick I've ever seen sitting in this commentary area.
Son of a gun. He's got the talent and showcased it. 3-point leads at the Tigers, 2 on the clock. Nankervis wins it down, but busting through is Atkins for the Cats. Throw it on the left. It's a shank that tumbles into the 50, but Stengel out of nowhere bursts onto the footy, kicks to the top of the goal square for the Cats. Henry flies with Cameron, but claims it. How did he get that? Reeled it in one of the biggest hits you'll see. Just smashed into Jeremy and still managed to bring it in as he fell to the turf. Jack Henry up forward has been a star. On return, he could have 2 and put the Cats back in front. Jack Henry from 45 trots in from 20, puts the Cats up at the G. 3-point lead to the home side, 13-11-89. Richmond 13-8-86, 74 seconds on the clock. We've got a thrilling finish coming up on Grandstand AFL.
Well, Jeremy Cameron was coming back with the flight of the ball, and Henry coming in from the side. He took the ball at the highest point, and then from Cameron coming across, hit his body and twisted him, and he almost was going away from the goals, and then it just sort of sat in his lap, and there wasn't much the defenders could do there. That was just a superb mark, but the clearance was most important there from the Cats. They got it forward, they got it long, they got it direct, and exactly what the Tigers need to replicate here is a quick clearance and getting long and deep in a one-on-one scenario.
A stunning finish here at the MCG. The umpires found a free kick in the middle. It's going the way of Richmond to Liam Baker. Wants to move it quickly. Kicks it inside 50. Stanley got fingertips to it. It falls away the Cats. Menangola off the side of the boot. Stengel has to work hard against Broad. It spills to Atkins close against the boundary line at right half back, but it's going straight down the throat of Lawson unless he was over the line, and he was, so it will be a boundary throw-in. 50 metres around from goal.
Sorry, just a couple of lesser lights. Stengel and Atkins have been really good in this last 2 minutes.
54 seconds on the clock. Geelong by 3. Left half forward for Richmond. Stanley against Nankervis. The Cats ruck wins it down in the path of Cam Guthrie. He's met by Baker. Handball wasn't clean. Dan Rioli swoops. Half volley from short. Cut off by who else than Tom Stewart, the villain of the evening. Will dash the hopes of Tigers fans at the G. He took out Prestia early. He's going to miss weeks, but it won't matter if they win. Clears it to the southern side to a pack. It's marked by the Tigers. One last roll of the dice. Sent back in from Tarrant. Skies it up to the left forward pocket. Plenty of players fly. Martin's there. Applies the tackle on close. Doesn't come out. Umpire will circle. Says my ball. 9 on the clock.
One last roll of the dice for Richmond. Ball inside their forward 50. It squirts out the back to Cam Guthrie. Close has a go. He can't keep it in. Ball in. 50 metres around from the Tigers' goal.
He's got nearly every player inside the Tigers' forward 50.
Geelong win an epic at the MCG. They led by 35 points. The Tigers came back, but it is the Cats inside the top two. They've won by 3.
We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played. At home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark. Now that Gardenia Park.
3 lead changes in the final quarter. The Cats get up in a thriller by 3 points, 13-11-89 to 13-8-86. They led by 18 at quarter time, 20 at the half. Richmond answered back with 5 goals to 1 in the third to lead by 5 points, but they just couldn't get the job done at the G. Geelong in the top 2 with their 10th win of the season.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Gardenia Park.
Have you caught your breath? What a game at the MCG in round 15 on Grandstand AFL, and it's not over yet. The Swans and the Saints still to come at the SCG. In about 10 minutes' time, we'll take you there with Quinton Hull and Daniel Garb. Geelong winners by 3 points. The goal kickers 3 to Cameron and Stengel. Singles to Tui, Smith, Myers, Henry, Close and Blitzabs. For the Tigers, 3 to Lynch and Bolton. Singles to Martin, Baker, Edwards, Clark, Ralph Smith and Rioli. Chris Johnson, Nathan Burke, wrap that up for us.
Amazing game. Really, really good game. The Cats came out firing and put a really handy lead. But the problem with getting a really handy lead early is it gives the other team enough time to get back into the game. And the Tigers came out in that end of that second quarter, most of the third quarter, and started to play Tiger football. They were getting the ball forward. They were running in numbers. And Geelong really looked all at sea against it. But most importantly, Geelong were able to then go, you know what? We were winning this game by playing pretty much Tigers footy and playing better than the Tigers are at their own game. Taking risks, running in numbers, getting the ball inside forward 50 as quickly as we possibly can. And that's what they decided to do once the Tigers had hit the front. And once they got back into that game style, the Tigers really had no answer. They tried and tried and tried. But Tommy Stewart, especially in that last quarter, 17 intercept possessions for the game. Time and time again, he got himself into the right spot to thwart that Tigers' forward forays. And it was a really mature effort by Geelong to be in front, to get be behind, and then come out and play attacking football to get themselves back in front. It wasn't the Tigers' mistakes. It was the Geelong playing attacking football that got themselves into the winning position. So really mature effort there from the Cats.
Look, I love the way the Tigers went about it. The Cats were very good from the start, but certainly the Tigers, they were down without Prestia on very early in the game. They then made the switch with Short and Baker into the midfield to actually give them a bit more oomph and a bit more run and carry. They were able to do that. They got out to a fairly big lead, Geelong, but Richmond were able to come back. But then again, looked like it was all going to be Richmond, and they just willed themselves to actually get that centre clearance, Berkey, where it was most important. Scrappy kick forward and then a long kick into the goal square with Henry being able to mark, and it's just that ability which we spoke about probably at three-quarter time, that they were going to come back, that the Geelong Footy Club, they're a professional outfit. They're going to give and give and give, and I reckon they give more than any time is when their backs up against the wall, and that's when they were with about 2 minutes to go. Got the clearance, got it forward, but they were just fantastic. Apart from Tom Stewart's, bump on Prestia, that's probably about the only downfall for the Cats, but a cracking game, fantastic, thrilling ending.
So, Jono, Geelong into the top 2, a game behind Melbourne. If you say the D's are the premiership favourite, are they the contenders, the Cats?
Oh, look, I think they are. I still wouldn't go away from Richmond. I think Richmond, if they can actually get into that in that finals, I really like. We've seen, and you mentioned it, Berkey, Richmond football. We know Richmond football can actually be a good brand that can win games. What they went away from, which I was very surprised, is that what got them back into the game was obviously Short and Baker into the middle, but their one-on-one, their ability to actually make it a contest. And in that last quarter, in the late stages, it wasn't a contest because they were just letting them run loose. They needed to go back to that. So if they can get back to that football, I think Richmond still, I really like the way they go about it. Brisbane was disappointing. Carlton were very, very good today. So there's, in that top 6, there's still, and the Bulldogs were fantastic the other night. So I reckon we've got a lot of contenders. It's the first time in a long time that we've had a lot of clubs that we can say on any given day might be able to win on the last day in September.
And we can't forget losing Prestia in that first quarter. He's arguably the most informed midfielder of the past few weeks, if not the season. So you kind of add that into the mix and you think Richmond did pretty well. They had to completely adjust. Soldo was their medical substitute. So for them to get that close to Geelong, who I think had a really good side in today, then I agree with you. I think Richmond, you can't write them off.
And the big question will be, Berkey, and they'll go back and they'll review it, is what happened in the first half? How did we let Geelong Footy Club get away from us? And we shouldn't have to try and get back in the game from, I think it was 35 points, I think it got out at one stage. We shouldn't have to be in that position. If we had just stayed within 1 or 2 goals with them in that second term, we'd probably win the game, really.
It was inside 50s were 20-9 in that first quarter. And that they just came out really lacklustre. There was no tackling, there was no effort. Geelong pretty much walked their way through them. So that's the worry. You're playing against such an important game, 2 teams in the 8, a lot to play for with the other results. You're a big crowd here at the MCG, and you come out lacklustre. It's a funny game, football. Don't know how that happens.
And we love it. We love it, don't we? We love it. And the thing, and you kept saying, Berkey, in the call, and it just simplifies the game, that the one thing Richmond had on their time through the second quarter, one thing they had was time. And you kept saying that. They had time, so they were able to do it. And I remember Broad in front of us just here on the left, he in front of the Olympic stand, he just took the game on and he got a wave of players going through, and that was pretty much Geelong most of the night, but certainly in the last sort of 5 minutes, Geelong were able to get that wave going a little bit more in their way than what Richmond were.
The Cats are really soaking in this victory lap and now have Jeremy Cameron on the shoulders of Tom Hawkins and Brad Close. 200 games for Jezza. Outstanding career that's spread across 2 clubs. Jeremy Cameron, 171 games with the Giants, 29 with Geelong, a 2-time All-Australian, a Coleman medalist, a best and fairest winner, and an inaugural Giant, and a 9-time leading goal kicker for them as well. He's chaired off the ground as the Cats prepare to make their way down into the rooms. A massive win that moves them into the top 2 at the MCG. 13-11-89 to 13-8-86. A 3-point lead, or 3-point win to Geelong as Richmond slumped to 8-6. The Cats now 10-4. The Swans and St Kilda to come up very shortly at the SCG. We'll sneak the votes in as well before we head there. But for now, we should head downstairs and see the emotion at the moment as the Cats make their way into the rooms. Karen Peterson is downstairs.
Making their way very slowly. I think they're soaking up every second of this. There's quite a large crowd in here making their way in, led by Guthrie. Jezza getting a round of applause as he's coming in. Lots of handshakes and pats on the head. Very, very, very happy Geelong camp down in here. Chris Scott makes his way in. To Koenig following and Smith. they make their way into the circle. Not quite as loud as what I would expect at the moment, but here we go.
Three-point win to the Cats over Richmond, 13-11-89 to 13-8-86. 60 seconds on the clock, Berkey. You're 3-2-1 in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Apologies to Jeremy Cameron in his 200th, kicking 3 goals. I've given 1 to Cam Guthrie. I thought his effort was outstanding all day. 2 to Tyson Stengel, 3 goals, 18 possessions. And Tommy Stewart, he's going to have a rest for a couple of weeks, but he was outstanding down back. For 3 to Stewart, 2 to Stengel, 1 to Guthrie.
Thanks to Nathan Burke and to Chris Johnson. Thanks to Jess Webster, to Karen Peterson downstairs, Ben Cameron back in the studio, and Julian McKenzie, our tech. What a win for the Cats. It didn't come easy. They led by 35 points in the second term, lost the lead at three-quarter time to Richmond, and then won by 3 points, 13-11-89 to 13-8-86 in game 200 for Jeremy Cameron. He kicked 3 alongside Tyson Stengel, whilst Tom Stewart had 29 touches. Your night continues at the SCG. The Swans and the Saints next.